Y'all, that was very strange. I should be sounding normal right now. Yes? Let me know if that is not the case. Do I sound I should sound normal. I feel like I sound normal to me. Okay. DSB notes, I never sound normal, but I'm within acceptable range. I don't know what that was. I listened and I heard it, and that lovely clip that was sent to me that made me sound like a robot, which is not necessarily bad, but also you could not understand a word I was saying, so that was the bad part. Ooh, um, yeah, no, I had to restart OBS, not the computer. Everything else was fine. Weird. However, here's the thing. Rissa came and left for gaming, and I'm so sad. But we got gift subs, and I was really excited about singing the name game for them. So I'm just gonna have to sing the name game for them again. It's just gonna have to happen. I mean, I don't know. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both, then say the name like Bob. Bob drop the B's for Ob, or Fred. Fred drop the F's for Red, or Mary. Mary drop the M's mo airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Beetle wins, but Edel wins, banana fana for fetal wins, fee fi mo metal wins. Beetle wins, Spooky lot, bo booky lot, banana fana for fooky lot, fee fi mo mooky lot. Spooky a lot, This one's me, this is the tricky one. Brookie cookie frog, bo cookie frog, banana fana for fooky cookie frog, fee fi mo mooky cookie frog. Brookie cookie frog, inquisitive duck, inquisitive duck, banana fana for inquisitive duck, fee fi mo inquisitive duck. Jessica FRM. Jessica SRM, Bo, Beska FRM, Banana Fana, Fo, Fesca FRM, Fee, Fi, Mo, Meska FRM. Jessica FRM, The name game. Hi, everybody. Also, I just turned off the music in the background, so you can't hear it. I just wanted you to know that's what I did. So if you heard the background music cut out, that's what happened. Hey, everybody. Fuhukwa gods. Sorry, I've got Homestar Runner in my brain at the moment, and I can't really tell you much about why that is, but it also is. Sadly, to be honest, we did all think you had done it as a motive for an emulator on purpose. No, I didn't. I really didn't. That was just some kind of weirdness going on. Speaking of weirdness going on, I actually think I have things to tell you. I am using mix minus here right now, and I think I shouldn't be, because I feel like this will be the way. I think this is going to be the way we're going to do this in this mode. But when I've got dot here, I do something different. Look, there are multiple configurations going on that I can all tell you. I'm not going to put this on just yet until after we make sure everything's copacetic. We'll work it out. Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you, Krillin. Come on, Fuku gods. Come on, Fuku gods. Y'all. So, I have so many things. I have so many things to tell you and share with you and think about. So, I had to get a new audio interface, everybody. It has not arrived yet, and I'm going to need it before I can play the synth for you all. Um, and I just got a phone call from the music company the company that I'm using, Sweetwater. They're a really great. They've got great customer service. So great, their customer service is so great, as a matter of fact, that they called me on the phone and they said, "Hey, we noticed that you ordered this audio interface, and it is a great audio interface, and I'm sure you'll love it, but it will not come in until about May. Here's another audio interface that is cheaper and that I think will do exactly what you want to do, uh, but I can send it out today." And I was like, yes, absolutely. So the audio interface that I'm looking for um, is coming, which means if things work out well, I should be able to swap out audio interfaces, refigure out my routing, and then get my you can't see it right now, and then get my synthesizer through this brand new audio interface, and then into the computer, and then you'll be able to hear synthesizer sounds, and I'll be able to share them with you. But I just wanted you to know that that is. I had a thought. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about audio routing. I was like wondering, could I route my voice into the synthesizer and do something cool with it? Not a thing to think about right now, though. However, I just want to let you know that it's coming. The cheat, the cheat is to the limit. Oh, everybody to the limit. Everybody, you know. Trooper had a thought in the middle of a thought, unprecedented. Okay, so maybe I sometimes have thoughts in the middle of thoughts. That does happen sometimes. Nobody knows why. Yes, so here's the thing. I'm going to be getting a new audio interface. And you might think, why do you need a new audio interface? Well, um, yo, dog, I heard you like thoughts, so I put a thought in your thought so you can think while you think. This is how my life is. So I want to show you something. Look, we're talking about my synth for a second, so I can tell you something really cool. Maybe, maybe we'll see. Here, whoop. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, whoop. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, synthesizer? Whoop. Wrong direction. There we go. Whoop. There we go. Okay, awesome. I have to clear off my desk. It's cool. So here's the thing. Normally, when you have some kind of audio situation, right? You have like an audio out, and you put that audio out into your here, right? So this is my Scarlett, which I'm currently not using, which has two ins, if you'll notice. Very exciting. And then this is the Rodecaster Pro, which is what I am currently using, and it has four four ins right there. You can see the one, two, three, four. Those are for microphones, and then it's got that USB in, which is all of the sound coming from the computer. And then it's got a phone in, so if somebody's calling in, right? You could say hey. Also, there's a Bluetooth in if somebody wants to Bluetooth in with you, and then you've got like this little sound pad thing, right? So I could, right? That kind of a thing. Anyway, so the thing about this particular audio interface is that it has four ins for microphones, one of which is currently plugged in. You can see that's the one. But the ports are XLR ports, which are these, except these ports here are like the special new fancy exciting hybrid ports where you could either put in an XLR cable or a 1/4 inch cable like this one, right? This goes in there as well. So the problem is this only has the XLR cable, but an input, but no, but it's not a hybrid. So here, what you do is you take the little mini jack. So mini jacks come out and they're going to go into something, but they're going to go into something with a 1/4 inch input. So that the Rodecaster Pro that I have will not take any inputs from my synthesizer. The Focusrite would. It only has 2 inputs, however. This modular synthesizer, you may not realize, has got like something like 300 outputs, something like that. It's got a lot of outputs. And if you want to know, too many dials. All the buttons and knobs and dials and switches and buttons and knobs and dials and switches and buttons and knobs and dials. Yeah. So what you may not realize is that, I don't know if I can make you see this very well, but so here's an envelope generator and it has an out. That's two. Here is a sequencer and it has a number of outs. And there are a bunch of envelopes over here, oscillators. They all have outs. This interface has outs, more outs. So there are like a gazillion outs on this thing. Now, why do you care about that? I should not be using my hand for emphasis when I do this. I really shouldn't. I'm not going to, but I talk with my hands. So boom, we're gonna come back here. So why does this matter? This matters because unlike many other things, this synthesizer does not just have two outputs. It has any number of outputs and really functionally, one, two, three, four, five, six. Functionally like six to 10 that I might find interesting to use. I mean, not that many, but like, point being that I can get, let's say four to six, functionally 4 to 6, could be more, 4 to 6 to 7, 4 to 8, 4 to 8, not fornicate, 4 to 8 outputs that would be interesting and useful to use from the synth that I might, if I wanted to sort of multi-track to go into the computer so that I could have different sounds coming in at different times, which would be very, very cool. But the Rodecaster will not take anything in from the synth, and the Focusrite will only take 2 things in. And so I'm getting an audio interface that and also those 2 things, that's only 2 total, which means if I had mics in, then we're done. So I'm getting a new audio interface, which will have more inputs so that I will be able to, if I really wanted to, sort of pull in a number of different inputs, basically, right? I'll basically be able to, if I wanted to, not just have 1 or 2 max sort of synthesizer sounds coming out. I can have like up to 6, maybe 7 sounds. But to do that, I'm going to need an interface that would actually accept those sounds as separate sounds. And I've got that coming in the mail very soon. And once that comes in, I can set everything up, and then I can share it with you all. There. Get or make your own patch cables. Oh, I have patch cables. It's just that the thing is, the patch cables I have are mini to mini. They're like eighth inch, and these interfaces will not take eighth inch. They'll basically, I need quarter inch, and I have some eighth inch to quarter inch, but they are TRS cables, and I need TS cables, so those are also coming in the mail. So I'm getting everything I need, and I just need my interface, and then I should be fine. Why is there half a Boeing 737 cockpit in your office? It's also so small and cute. Like, it's quite a small little synthesizer, as opposed to the original, which was like massive. Ooh, can I show you a photograph? I think I can. I might be able to. 300 outputs, but I have 305 friends. I'm so sad for those 5 friends. That's just... Trooper 5 is alive! My brain is all math melty, refreshing the difference between rational and irrational numbers. Krillin, I get that. I know the Trooper 5 is alive. I am. Here, do I have a photograph I wanted to show you? I feel like I might do. Hold on, let me see. Wait. How do I search for this photo? I'm going to show you a photo. I'm going to show you the a photograph if I can. This is not really the best photograph in the world, but I will show you the synthesizer. I'm pretty sure this is the same one. I'm pretty sure that I learned on, so you can get a sense of um, the size of the original. All right, save this image as. Where are you going to go, image? Downloads, that's fine. Oh no, you didn't do what I want you to do. Sorry, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. I want to show you this. This is like really important to me. I feel like you'll find this very exciting. Cancel. Image, a new tab. Sometimes images are not what I want them to be. You know what I mean? Sometimes images are irritating. Okay, great. I got what I wanted. Hold on. I'm going to pull this into OBS so I can show you. Dear OBS, be awesome right now. And also, I just figured out something. Okay. I'm going to just pull in this image so I can show you. Okay. Okay. Look at this photograph. My early 2000s music PTSD. Why does looking at photographs, trigger your PTSD? It really shouldn't. Okay. Okay. I'm so excited to share this with you all. I just want you to know that I'm excited. Here, I'm gonna hang out over here. Okay. So next up, Drew just needs to get an LS9 mixer. I mean, you know, maybe, perhaps. I mean, those mixers are very intense. Okay, so this is a photograph of Pauline Oliveros, who is amazing and who actually taught me a little bit about how to make electronic music because she's so cool. Really, by the way, I hope everyone is remembering the 5th of November. I mean, I try to remember the 5th of November. I mean, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I think they had something to do with like treason and maybe like a plot. I mean, I do try to remember it. Um, so, so this is Pauline Oliveros. I wonder if I can do something illegal. Sweet. Well, it's educational. So this is Pauline Oliveros, and this is her working on a Moog. And this is a Moog that was built. I look when she was part of the San Francisco Tape Center. She did a bunch of stuff, and the San Francisco Tape Center, which was around in the '60s, became part of Mills College, which is in Oakland, which is where I went and I got where I studied electronic music composition. So like Mills College had John Cage there at one point in time. Pauline Oliveros was there, and she came back and she visited while I was there, and she taught stuff. So a lot of these like really important electronic musicians from like the 50s and 60s, etc., were all, not that John Cage was electronic, he was more avant-garde experimental, but process musician. But anyway, she was there. It was pretty awesome. And they still have the original Moog synthesizer that they were using back then in the 60s. They also have like a Buchla, which was a competing synthesizer. And people say, oh, the Buchla is the West Coast electronic music tradition, and the Moog is the East Coast. But like, I was on the West Coast. We had both. Anyway, so this is her on one of the Moog synthesizer's original style, and for scale purposes, okay, so if you can see, I wonder how I'm going to point. The thing about images not being what you want them to be, I Googled Fallout Fox and a Guy Fawkes mask and did not get it. I didn't. Oh. Okay, so this way. Okay, so if you notice from about here to here, if you look at, okay, I wish I could overlap, but I don't think oh, you know what I can do? I can do this. I know what I can do. Hold on. I have got a way to do what I want to do. What I want to do is show you something very specific. If I do this, I should be able to get there. Okay, so starting right here, to right about here is one module's height, is the height of one module. From here to here. Because if you notice, from here to here is another module row, and then from here to here is another module row. So this particular Moog is 3 modules high, right? And it's actually much wider than that, but you can see, right? This is the height of one, the height of the next row. I gotta tell you, this is awkward. And then the height of this, that row. Okay. I hope, Rain Man. Okay, Rain World. So you can see the height of the modules compared to her arm. Like it's quite tall, right? That's, like she's sitting at a desk, and you can see how high 3 modules is for her. Now, hey, Pauline Oliveros, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Give me a second. Now, if we go back to my Behringer, which is a reproduction of that Moog. Well, all right, so focus. Great. So what you may not, so this is now, that's 3, right? So they've basically taken, that's basically too high, but they've basically taken what was originally much, much taller, and they've shrunk it down. So now the module is much, much smaller. If you can get my, hang out. There's my hand. It's hairy. And I can span the height of one module pretty, like it's not that tall. It just really isn't that tall at all. It's like, whoop, right? Not that tall. So this one is much, much smaller than the original, like which you can see. So it's not massive. It's really tiny. It's like a wee synthesizer. It's just a little tiny Moog synthesizer is what it. Drummer boy, oh, drummer boy. People were giving you compliments, by the way, drummer boy, on your music from last night for the Traveler, because we had our. By the way, we're playing the Outer Worlds. And that's what we're doing. We're playing it. And I'm going to just, we're going to start because we should. And we're going to continue talking about synthesizers in the process of, while we're playing. I mean, that's what we're doing. Anyway, the people gave some love for your interstitial. Also, I'm going to go and make the now that I have all the names of all the PCs and also the name of the subtitle of the show, I'm going to make the opening credit sequence. And for opening credit sequence, I will be using one of your other pieces of music, which I think is going to work really, really well. And I'm very excited. And everyone's going to be thrilled. I'm gonna try to go and like be bold and do exciting things in Final Cut Pro. We'll see what happens. Did you need a smaller synth because you are much smaller than the original too? Yes, that is true. It's a joke because you're short. I like to think of myself as not short. This is really interesting. This is an interesting thing. It's about shortness for a second while we're waiting for this to load. When it grows up, imagine the music we'll make. Time to recreate that in VR, AR, XR. Someone is working on a show. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, yeah. But also, Drummer Boy, you can just come next week or watch this VOD because I'm going to go make this title sequence, and I think it's going to be very cool. If you want to bounce the intro track back and forth, I totally down to Polish and Taylor. Oh, that would be really cool because basically what I will do is I want to sort of basically create the opening credit sequence and figure out how long it'll be. Probably like about a minute and some. About a minute and some is what I'm thinking total. And there's a piece that of yours that I think will be really good because it's got kind of like a big dramatic sweep. And that's like 7 minutes. So I was going to try to like figure out like a good 7 minute chunk. Sorry, one and some minute chunk for it. But I can like, if I can show you, once I get the title sequence in, I can send you what the title sequence looks like without sound. or like with a scratch sound in there. And like you can, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. That's what I'll do. And you can check it out. Oh, so exciting. Wait, what height is a trooper? Oh, Krellin. I'm just 6'4". I'm really short. No, I'm not 6'4" at all in any way. Yeah, yeah. I will send you the video. I'll put the video together and I'll send it to you. We will DM. We will DM. Hey, by the way, did you like Jez's blue hair? Just, oh, he's hungry. What is that all about? Wait. No, I want this. Okay. I know that we're in the middle of the game, but I have to say this, so I'll lose my thought. I will send it to you. I'm going to go and I'm going to take a bike ride today. I'm going to take because today's, okay, look, I just, for the record, short, height. That's the thing. Train of thought that I don't want to lose, height. So you know, I have been really good about not missing any of my bike rides, which is like 3 times a week, on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and then on the weekend. Because I'm doing the romantic road. I have not posted any tweets about it because I've been so busy getting ready for travel, but I haven't missed any. I'm a little concerned that we're going to have a problem for me getting my bike ride in properly this coming week because of our schedule's messed up because of Veterans Day. Normally I'm teaching Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and so I ride Tuesday, Thursdays, and then on the weekend. But Friday is a holiday, it's Veterans Day, and so what my school does is that when this happens, they take the Friday schedule and they put it on Tuesday. So for me, my week is going to go, in terms of scheduling, Monday, Friday, Wednesday, and I normally ride on that Tuesday, but my Friday is my prison class where I'm in basically dealing with like prison and stuff in meetings from 11-ish in the morning, at like 10-ish, 10, 11-ish to like 6 o'clock at night. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that meeting in. I don't know if I'm going to get my ride in on Tuesday, which is going to throw off my whole schedule. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. It's a bit of a question. It's a bit of a mystery. Nonetheless, but I wanted you to know that I've been doing really well. And I'm like I'm not yet, but I'm almost halfway through the Romantic Road ride. And I do have these virtual postcards and I have to post some for you so you know that I've been doing it. I just wanted you to know. I'm 64 centimeters tall. He doesn't look gnomish. Don't worry. I've not lost the train of thought about height. But now I just want to sort of point out Stonehenge from, you don't know why I'm doing this. I know. From Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. Because remember when they wanted to do so if you've not seen the movie, Stonehenge, This is Spinal Tap is a mockumentary of the excessive heavy metal band Spinal Tap, early 80s. And at one point in time, like the band's on tour, they're not doing so well, they're having some problems, and so they want to recreate one of their like greatest set pieces so that they're on tour in America, so that they can go and bring back their mojo. And they're like, let's do Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge. It was like such a great, oh yeah. And they're like, but we don't have the set for Stonehenge. Like we don't have the set pieces. Because like the idea is like they would basically recreate Stonehenge with these like 11-foot tall, blocks of this big Stonehenge. And then they do like their number Stonehenge in the middle of this massive thing on stage and like, wow, and fog and all that, right? And so, they're like, but we don't have the pieces. And they're like, oh, that's okay. We'll just like sketch it out. We'll get like somebody to go and like build it for us real quick. And so the guy sketches out the Stonehenge things, but feet is 1 dash and inches is 2. And he put the inches rather than the feet. And so in the sequence in the movie, like the curtains are down, they all come up there and they're like, oh, the Stonehenge, the mysterious place of Stonehenge. And then like, the curtains emerge and like there's the fog and the little Stonehenges are just like this tall. And then like the little people of Stonehenge come to dance around the huge gigantic like Stonehenge things dressed as like elves or whatever. But like Stonehenge is only this tall and they're dancing around the little Stonehenge. Cause the thing is the Stonehenge is supposed to be like, I remember now, the Stonehenge is on like wires and it's supposed to be lowered onto the stage from above, like these massive Stonehenges. But when it gets lowered, it's just like a little wee Stonehenge. And then like the little elves, they're dancing with the Stonehenge. They like dance on top of it and they destroy it. And it's like really bad. And if you've not seen This is Spinal Tap, I've not seen it in at least 2 decades, but it amused me very, very much when I saw it at the time. Yes. Spinal Tap. We keep making short jokes. Trooper can't forget to tell us his thoughts. I'm there. Hands on my favorite scene of that movie is when they get lost. Oh, Atomica. That's a brilliant part of it. You should see the movie. They're louder because their amps go to 11. Yes. So what I'm hearing is that Trooper's just a little guy. No. Look, you see right here. You wrote 8 inches. It's supposed to be 8 feet. No, look, 2 dashes. It was really good. So Atomica points out one of these like great moments in the mockumentary. Look, if you haven't seen it, just go see it. I don't know what it's like now, but go see it. So you know how I don't know if you've ever been backstage in a stadium or like a concert venue. I have, and there are a number of because there are a number of concert venues where you have the big stage and like the backstage area where like your dressing rooms are is actually in the basement, so it's like one level below the stage itself. So you've got to like leave your dressing room, walk around there, go up the stairs, come back to the stage, and then come on stage. And a number of these things are kind of old and sometimes a little bit Byzantine. And so in this one section of the film, the band are all like, "All right, yeah, rock and roll," and you see them like leave their dressing room and walk down like the concrete hallway. Cut to the audience going, ah, like just like you've seen in every single like documentary or like music video. And then you see them walking down the hallway, rock and roll, audience, and then you see them, they're kind of looking around and they like turn a corner in this like metal concrete hallway. And they're like, yeah, rock and roll. And they're walking down the hallway, audience, right? And then you see them and they're like looking around and they take another turn and like rock and roll. And then they're like looking and you can tell they've gotten lost and they have no idea how to get to the actual stage, and it's like just cuts between the audience going, yeah, Spinal Tap, and they're just like rock and roll, and they're just completely lost. And I think they find like an enchanted. They're like, which way do we go? It was, yeah, anyway. Look, the film is the film's good. The film's good. Yeah, yes, that is such a it's good. You need to watch the Weird Al one. Oh yeah, the trailer. I think it starts. I think it's out now on Roku. I'm not quite sure where you can find it, but I also want to watch it very, very much. You watched a half hour of the Weird Al mockumentary and it was really funny. Oh, I really want to see it too. Where did you find it? Is it? I was told that it's on some kind of streaming service, but I don't know which one. Roku? Involves that is not an exaggeration. I want to watch the Weird Al one. I love how after Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe has just been. I don't need money, so I'm going to do whatever I want. Yeah, and he's done some really cool, interesting things. Roku channel for free. Oh, I've got to go and find Roku. I don't know where to find it. I will go look it up. Okay. Height. Because there is a relevance to this. There is a relevance to this discussion of height. And also, there are a number of things about height that I want to share. But before we do, I just want to make sure I don't have anything I have to do. I feel like, I've got extra guns. You know what I was doing? Oh no. Oh, I think I've taken care of, by the way. I think I've taken care of making sure I don't have too much encumbrance. I'm only at 250. So I think we're actually really good. I think we can just go to our next mission. Y'all. Quick side note, I'm so happy to be hanging out with y'all right now. I'm feeling really good. I mean, I realized that there was all sorts of ridiculousness, but I don't want that, but I'm feeling good. What I want is to figure out, oh, you know what? I think we can just figure out where we're going. There, we want to go to Eridanos, because that is where the next DLC is. That's what we're doing. Okay, height. Swiss Army Man was also worth a watch. Radcliffe starred as a corpse. Yeah, that's one of the ones I wanted to look into. Also, let me know if the audio is where you want it to be, because I'm doing another thing. Because here's the thing, I have a different audio routing setup if I've got Zoom going on than if I don't, because I could have everything just go through the Rodecaster all in one channel. But one of the things that is useful about having this is that I can actually separate out the channels, so I can have Zoom be different from game audio. So I can up the players versus background music. You know how it is. Anyway, just let me know. Height. Y'all, I wonder who we should take with us. Should I just take the people with me that I always take with me? Like I always take Ellie and Nyoka with me because I love them. I also really like Parvati. I actually do like Felix. Uh, Vicar Max isn't bad. Sam is just not useful for me. Sure, people less like it. Yeah, she is my bestie. I like her attitude. Actually, I like everybody, but not all of them are super useful for me in combat. Um, we can take Nyoka. We could leave Ellie for the moment, and we could take Felix. We don't need Parvati and Nyoka because they're both kind of heavy. We can take Felix. We can sort of mix it up and take Felix today, right? We can, and he's short, right? So like I think he's our shortest companion, except for Max. So we'll take Felix today with us. That's gonna be our. That'll be our. If it's brown, drink it down. I don't know about that. Okay, so shortness. I wanted to say something about shortness because I was thinking about this in relationship to stuff, race, gender, sexuality, all that kind of stuff. So, well, call me heavy. No, no, she's she's a heavy fighter. You know, heavy armor. Just anyway, she's not heavy. She's my brother. That's the song. Any, okay, so I was on a. She ain't heavy. She's my sister. Thank you, Krellin. I appreciate that. You knew where I was going. So, there are various online message boards. What's happening? This seems intense. Oh, look at this place, huh? Hey, Artie. We're actually just starting gameplay, technically. We had audio problems. Look, I'm gonna play to like, I don't know, 3:30. Okay, we are here for our only other DLC, which is cool. Um, hey, I love the heat mirage the heat distortion coming out of our ship port excitement. That's very cool indeed. The graphics in this game is so good. They are so good. I appreciate them. Also, let's just kind of take a look at this planet we're on. Massive cables keeping large chunks of rock suspended. Whoever was the... What do you think? Oh, welcome center, kind of like a cruise ship port, I suppose? Or, uh, wow, look at the sky. There's some beautiful kind of art, kind of Belle Epoque uh, stained glass here. What do we have over? Look, I realize we have to go in there. I understand that, but um, I want to give some, hey, look at the little kind of wet ground here. I just kind of want to give some love to those video game artists who've done all of this because, ooh, loot. Sorry, I was like, loot. I didn't realize there was loot here. Because, they work hard, and I want to acknowledge how beautiful this is before we just jump in and start screaming. And I'm going to talk about height because I've got that on my mind now. Also, we probably should just do a 360 of the landing pad and loot everything because have you met me? Let's see what we have here. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like Bespin. Yeah, we're floating the atmosphere of a gas giant. That makes sense. But then we're going to have to figure out what game is going to take up the next year or so. No, we're going to do Rain World after this. Atomica has sent me Rain World as a gift over on PS4 so that I can play it on the PS4 because, oh, hey, there's a little person walking. Oh, there's a little person walking. That's so cool. And there is... I do wonder a little bit. Okay, so... Sorry. I have a fake science question for you all. Speculation. I would like some speculative fiction for you all. Here's a question that I have. Also, let's loot. While we're here, I just feel like we could do that. Just a little looting. So here's my question for you all. Oops. My question for you all is this. Wow, that's so great looking. So if you notice, I want to go to all these places. I wonder if we can. If you notice the engines, the propellers, are not pointed downwards. They're pointing laterally, which implies we're moving, right? Forward. Do you think that's true? Do you think that we are moving in space, that we're not stationary, we're not like hovering, we're cruising? Do you think we're cruising? This is my question for you. This is because this is the only thing that makes sense from the way that those engines are pointing. But look at those smokestacks. This place is probably run by Billy D. That would be nice. I just hope that he doesn't need to betray me, you know. I'm just saying. There was some European royalty who connected tall men like Ash Ketchum towards Pokemon. Other nations sent their tallest fellas as a gift. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, super Art Deco, right? I love it. Trooper, you can't call them little people. That's rude. That's what they... It was Frederick the Great's father, Frederick William of Prussia. Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, you suspect him in a high atmosphere orbit. Oh, that makes sense. That we're not... Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Freddy was a riot. Good old Freddy. Wizard Styles. Hey, Wizard Styles. Frederick the First of Prussia, as some have gift said, the regiment was often referred to as the Lange Kerls, which today's language can be translated like the Long Boys. I like the I. That's good. That's good. Might be a case of falling, but sideways to stay suspended. What is a rock's cruising altitude? Maybe the atmosphere beneath us is super dense, so we don't sink. Oh, that's also possible. Or they're keeping you in one spot against a headwind. Oh, that's, you know, it could be interesting. Maybe the engines can rotate. So depending on like where the sort of like the wind or the pressure is coming from. What? Oh, my, yeah, African or European rock. Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. So I am 5'6". And being 5'6", but also Gen X is interesting because sublight. Oh, sublight. Huh. Because average heights, if you live in where I lived in the U.S., if you asked what is somebody's average height, in the 1980s, an average woman's height was 5'4", and an average man's height was like 5'6", 5'7", and that is not the case anymore. The average male height is much taller now than it was in the 80s, in the US at least. So 5'6" wasn't short in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? It was like average. But people will perceive it as being short now, but in the US, but it wasn't not that long ago. And I always find that to be like a little bit odd. You know what I mean? Like for me, like I just don't think of that as 5'6" is the average male height in the U.S. Average height is now around 5'8" or 5'9", right? So basically, the average height has gone up basically 3 inches, but it was 5'6". So for me, I don't think of 5'6" as being short at all, though I understand that average height has gone up. But this is the other thing I wanted to tell you because I thought this is really interesting. There are things that don't stress me out so much, but they stress other people out, and those other people are usually much younger than I am and have heard other things, right? So I was on a trans guy Reddit, or I think it was a Reddit. And why was I there? Because I hadn't been, because, you know, I used to be on LiveJournal. I used to, like, basically kind of like a form of, how do I describe this? Okay, slightly more information.
You know, we don't have to catch Helen's killer right this second. Maybe we ought to take in the sights.
Maybe. Meanwhile, much less chance for men to wear shoes with any sort of extra heel height. That is true. I was doing some proto-social media.
Hello there.
Hello?
Hope your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort.
Oh,
Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos.
thanks.
I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime.
Oh, we're going to be Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple right now. I'm very excited. Secondly, I would like to talk about the details in this game for a moment. If you notice, this bellhop Norville has got vitiligo. Do you notice he's got some vitiligo on his skin? And I don't think I've ever really seen a game that just had somebody with vitiligo in it, which is like really cool. Can I say something? I just want to give some love to this game for a moment, to the Outer Worlds 1. I've not played Outer Worlds 2, but I do know it's out. This game does a really good job with diversity. I am really impressed at how well this game, like, I mean, everything can be better, right? But this game, I think, does such a good job with diversity in the sense that, like, you've got, like, this person who's not even a main character, at least I don't think so, with vitiligo. There's like people who look like they are mixed race who are hanging out in this game. There are people with I think they do it, like, could they do things better? Of course, I think there's more things they could do better, always. But I just want to say that that's really cool. I have been very impressed with that. And also, of course, I know really important for a whole bunch of people, like one of our pals here is also, we have ace representation. It's very cool. Like, I'm very excited about this. That's all I'm going to say. Outer Worlds, wait, is it out? I don't know. I feel like it's out. I feel like Outer Worlds 2. I mean, I saw the trailer for it saying that it was coming soon, so I assume that it's out because time, but we've done the time workup again, but I don't know if that's actually true. Nice to see Mr. Musk has a weekend job. Yes. First time I've seen vitiligo in a video game. Right, Hawkeye? Right? Isn't that cool? Oh, Outer Worlds 2 isn't coming out for another year or two. Oh, so it's not out yet. Well, then that means I didn't miss it. I do recall some character creators that had it, but as stencils, like tattoos. Yeah. Okay, so it's not out yet. Oh, that's fine. Drummer Boy says, I'm selling average by all metrics, but there's a trend towards above average, at least in the current dating landscape. Mm-hmm. The dating is mostly apps nowadays and physical forward. Yes. So I wanted to sort of come back to that one. That's where the thought process was going. 23? Okay. Coteries of New York is a prominent character with... Oh, do they really? I've got to play that. Cher. For lots of reasons. Ah. So excited to be hanging out with y'all right now, playing this game. So I can't answer his question yet. No, I can, because I want to talk about height. So, now you're all getting all sorts of information. Let me see. Can you fill me in on the details of the murder? I think I'm short no matter when, but I don't even know how tall I am, so I don't really care either way. Colin says, I'm going to be playing a character in my Friday group with vitiligo soon. Though technically she only has vitiligo. She's actually a Frankenstein and monster. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, Krellin, I like that. That's very, very cool. So what I wanted to say was, let me just have him say the thing.
I can try. I was the one who found Helen's body in the Grand Ballroom. Corpse wasn't in the best shape. Aside from that, I don't know a whole lot. Helen was supposed to host the unveiling for Rizzo's newest product, Spectrum Brown. Until you catch the killer, the unveiling's been indefinitely postponed.
Oh, I see.
Helen's death has been a shock for many.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are inconsolable.
I can imagine.
Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
Hey, Black Hole Birdie may be a savage brute on the field of honor, but he's no killer.
Oh.
He did it. It's always the boyfriend.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose.
We could just talk to him. So was he was she, because we're talking about not Birdie, but Helen, was she a divisive figure? Are we playing Evil Under the Sun? Is this are we doing a full-on Agatha Christie right now?
Not particularly. But I think some folks were jealous of her success, or otherwise viewed her as a threat. Reckon how she came about her fame didn't help.
Oh, how'd she get so famous?
Why, she was a natural. People fell in love with her. She managed to wrangle up a following all on her own. She ended up about as famous and high-runged as your average VP, which rubbed a lot of Byzantines the wrong way.
Hmm.
Actors ain't supposed to get preferential treatment. Let's see here. Oh, I already spoke briefly about the spectrum unveiling, or lack thereof. It's still an awful shame. A lot of folks looking forward to that.
Um, don't let me forget. We're gonna stay on the topic of height, but don't let me forget Evil Under the Sun because I feel like this is happening. I thought you worked for Slug, not Rizzo's.
I do. Rizzo's happened to rent out the Grand Colonial Ballroom from Slug for the unveiling. A nice mutually beneficial event. But the murder's gone and ruined that. Along with 9 out of 10 of my favorite cereals.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, I think I've held you up long enough. Once you're ready, head down to the lobby. The ballroom is just behind the elevators. Meanwhile, I'll grab your bags.
Bags? What bags?
You're making fun, right? Your luggage, belongings, kit, wherever you keep what you ain't wearing. You're still giving me a pretty blank look. Suppose it's none of my business, but do you just wear the same set of clothes all the time?
Yeah, I'm a video game protagonist. We never change our clothes, except if it's like an armor upgrade. I mean, I do like to imagine that we probably smell real bad, actually. Yeah, we probably smell really bad because I don't see us taking showers either. I'm concerned now about the hygiene of all of my video game crew. This is a concern of mine now at this moment. This is, a concern. Hawkeye has an albino tiefling I created for a one-shot after playing a campaign. That sounds super cool. Artie says, inconsolable but lost profits in regards to the launch or about the murder. Although, seems to be a fan. Artie, Helen, Time of Guest says, Helen, the face that launched 1,000 chips on shoulders. Look, I need to say something about Evil in the Sun after the height. Atomica, oh, poor guy. You don't understand Tripper's encumbrance fetish. Yeah. Is that a gnome? I'm not certain if it's a gnome. It's unclear. I think most people in this world smell terrible, as soap would be a luxury. So I fit in. I think it's okay. Did the bellhop kill Papa Smurf for that? Maybe. We're not going to say anything about the hat. That's rude. Of course I do. Are you telling me I don't? No. I'm going to lie. I'm going to lie and say, no, that would be ridiculous because I feel like video game characters don't.
See, you say that, but I still ain't seen no bags. Know what? Never mind, it's not my business.
Nope.
Anyhow, I'll look for you in the grand ballroom later. Hope you can unravel this mystery, Inspector.
I wanted to ask him a lot more questions. I had many, many questions to ask him, but it's cool. I suppose we'll just not be able to do that. But what we should do is definitely, without a question, eat some food because we have this food addiction. It's just this weird food addiction thing we got going on. I'll just have some salt tuna. We've got like a bunch of salt tuna here, right? Yeah. Wait, what is this? Tropical pasta pack. We've got a lot of that. We'll just have some salt tuna. Salt tuna's fine. Okay. And now we're going to save. Because, we did the thing. And then I'm going to finish the thing about height. But then I'm going to be distracted by all the cool things you're saying in chat. And that's just going to be how our life is. I mean, I feel like you've met me. The only bags I need are under my eyes. Absolutely. Okay, so here's the... Oh, we're talking about height, PH. And I know that you come from the country with the tallest people on average. So, I was going to give you background to this comment. So, there's this thing that people talk about, not everybody, but a number of people in like this various online trans communities will talk about. And one of those things is...
I don't much care if you work for the adjutant. You want my respect? You show respect to Mr. Kincannon.
Okay. Who's Mr. Kincannon? That seems a little mysterious, but cool. I don't know Mr. Kincannon. We're going to just take a 360 around this launch area just to see what's up before we go into the welcome. How does the fruit grow? By the sun with evil under it. Then it becomes evil fruit. Okay, so there's a persistent kind of there's often been I don't know if so much anymore because people are kind of in like a super generational warfare space, but not always. So there's a thing that often happens within these like proto and sort of online, I don't know about as much now sometimes, online sort of trans message board spaces. And that is sort of a persistent complaint that nobody knows any old trans people, right? That they're just no old trans people. You would never know any old trans people because you've never seen any old or older trans people. And this comes down to the fact that online message boards, social media.
How many bits I've spent at the Grand Colonial? Is my patronage worth nothing to you?
I'm sure you've spent a lot, sir, but unfortunately we can't make any exceptions.
Can't make any exceptions. In Byzantium, those words would be a criminal offense.
Shame we're not in Byzantium.
Huh, interesting. Jer sees me, thank you. PH says, also there was a huge protest today in the Netherlands. I wanted to join, but no spoons, where a bunch of people went to the airport and some broke in and blocked private planes. Pretty cool. Oh, that sounds interesting. Online trends young, also older trends are way better at passing experience. Right. And there's also a couple of things. So did have the unfortunate side effect that a critical patient being flown on a private plane couldn't land? Oh, bummer. Hang on. This wouldn't be the Usanov even listen with Rig? Yes, it would, Time of Gifts. Please do not think I will not come back to the fact that there's a Dinah Rigg film that is amazing, that has Dinah Rigg, Maggie Smith, Roddy McDowall, Peter Ustinov. It's great. It's an amazing film, and I am going to talk about it, but I want to finish this thought first because it's about height, but I have to give you like background information first. So that Ustinov version is great. It is so good, and what's so great about it, besides the fact that it's amazing, is that Dinah Rigg plays the murder victim, who's like this actress. So now I'm clearly talking about this because I think I can do it faster. She's this actress who everybody hates. Like everybody hates her. Like nobody likes her, but everybody pretends to like her. And spoiler, she gets murdered. That's how these things go. It's a whodunit. You know how it is. But she also sings Cole Porter's "You're the Top" in that film. It's so good. Like, oh, there's some like full on shade being thrown between her and Maggie Smith's characters, and it's really good. If you have not seen that one, I recommend it. I recommend that one. It's really good. Oh, Hawkeye says it's the best of his Potter movies. It's such a good one. It is such a good one. I recommend it. Also like because then like she's singing "You're the Top, you're the top, you're the Colosseum, you're the top, you're the Louvre Museum, you're the nimble tread of the step of Fred Astaire, you're the National Gallery, you're Garbo's Salary, you're Camembert, you're the Nile, you're the Tower of Pisa, you're the smile on the Mona Lisa. I'm a worthless check, a humble wreck, a flop. But if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top. And of course that's so great because Cole Porter is a master of the internal rhyme. He's got such great rhymes. And as she's singing this, of course, Maggie Smith wants to try to get involved, and there's all sorts of, it's just good. You should see it. It's set in Tirana, Albania in the 1920s, like in a resort.
Greetings, Inspector. No need to check in here. Your paperwork has all been processed.
Oh.
You should be able to find the Colonial right ahead.
Thanks. Cool. I'm going to just, keep checking out what's here that I can just, pick up. That's cool. Bags. All right. I think, anyway, look, y'all, if you've not seen it, you should definitely go and see that one. If you like Agatha Christie murder mysteries, and it's got a great cast, and everybody seems to be having such a good time on set. And I will not spoil anything, but I recommend it. It's a very fancy place. I wonder what this will take us to. I imagine that this is not at all where we need to be going, but I am curious as to, what's happening here. Let's see. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go and change the... That's one thing, it's fine. When the moment anyone in Gen X or older speaks of social media get hit with the OK Boomer BS. I played Billy Crocker and Anything Goes in college. Did you really? Oh, so cool. Hawkeye says, always loved how Ustinov felt it was so hard to play Hercule because the detective is such a neat freak and Ustinov was a self-proclaimed slob. Oh, I can imagine how difficult that would have been. Elevators that take you up or down, but I don't know where they're going. And also, not only do I not know where they're going, but also we're supposed to be going that way. Like, that's where we're supposed to go, and this is not where we're supposed to go. So, you know what? You've convinced me, everybody. We're going to go here because this is not where we're supposed to go, and so we should go this way. Like, I know they want us to go that way, but we should... Well, this looks ominous. Let's go... Like, look, I understand that this is not at all where we're supposed to be going, but... We're a hacker and a bartender. You can't tell us what to do. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I'm dreading dealing with the age gap as a 40-year-old student next year. You know what? I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, I also have a feeling this is where I'm supposed to go later, and I sometimes just like to go where I'm not supposed to go, you know, and just see. Oh, hey, this just took us back outside. This is just an alternate doorway. Huh. All right, we did our due diligence. Going back down. We're good. Hacker, bartender, savior, spy. Ooh, yeah. I also feel like, PH, you say adventure is when you step off the beaten path. It's really interesting. There's a video game by Tale of Tales.
I feel like I'm spending a fortune just standing here.
Probably. Called The Path. It's a Little Red Riding Hood game. And it was one of the very early walking simulators, sort of like avant-garde arty sort of video game types of things. When you start, you play Little Red Riding Hood, right? And when you start at the beginning of the path, and there's the path that will take you, if you follow the path, it will take you to, why do I need food again? Will take you to grandmother's house, and then, and the way the game works, it's very interesting, is that when you first start up the game, it says, follow the path, right? Like, it just follow the path. And if you follow the path, you get to grandmother's house, and that's the end of the game, and basically nothing happens, and the game is boring. Like, nothing happens in the game at all if you do the instruction that was given to you in the very beginning, which is to follow the path. But if you leave the path, then you get all sorts of adventure.
Rizzo's Purple-Berry Punch. Rizzo's Knock You Out Bar. A CCN 76 milk chocolate bar with caramel and pea-free nuts in it. It's time for a KYO. Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch. Sugar gel flakes and purple berry flavored power nuggets. Now with 12% more crunch.
Okay, that's cool. You play one of 6 Little Red Riding Hood sisters. So the height thing. I'm 5'6", but we're talking about it's a beautiful location. Like, there's like beautiful statue here, but that's even a fountain. Who are you? Hotel guest.
Mr. Kincannon really knows how to run a hotel.
Thanks. Oh wait, do you have an amazing mustache? Excuse me, hotel guest. Oh, I don't want to shoot you. I just want to chat with you so I can talk to you and see your amazing mustache. Look at that mustache. Look at that mustache. So nice. Okay. So, a little Blue Riding Hood had the Triceratops, I think so. Wait.
This is all just a terrible coincidence.
Of course, you are absolutely right. I think the idea of a psychopath wandering among us is just making me nervous.
Oh. Put your hands up. Show me your mustache. So, online sort of trans spaces tend to skew very, very young. And they also skew, there's a particular skew, the Halcyon Helen versus the Brain Eaters. Oh, Halcyon Helen kind of looks a little bit like a mix between like a Sharon Tate and a, what's her face from Buffy? You know, what's her face? what's her face? She married Freddie Prinze Jr. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Thank you. I don't know. Thank you, Voltaire. The original Red Riding Hood, before the Brothers Grimm published it, had multiple different versions, as it's a folktale with different fates for the Red Riding Hood and the wolf. Yes, and I think that the game itself kind of plays with all of that, but it's also sort of very symbolic. That each of the Red Riding Hoods, it's about coming of age, you know.
The murder has inflicted severe emotional trauma on me. I demand a room upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. Join us for the Profit of Profitability seminar. A flyer promoting a productotherapy seminar with renowned Prophet of Profitability, Jasmine Leiva, at her retreat in the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. Under her patented system, purge your body of nefarious humors stopping you from unlocking your true productive potential. I don't like any of that, for the record. Just so you know, I'd like none of it. I want to... So even when I was...
I'm sorry, sir. But while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon.
Warned? By the way, Freckles, look, they just do a really good job, and they do a good job with hair. A lot of hair's not good, and they do a good job with hair. They do very good. Yeah, it is very John Galt of them. I want to finish this thing out tight, so people give me some space. Do you... I'm going to say who?
Why, you.
No, not the special inspector. I meant your boss.
Oh, Mr. Kincannon. He runs all sublet underground operations in the Eridanus Atmospheric Complex, including the Grand Colonial Hotel.
Interesting.
But he keeps his office down in the warehouse district, near the docks.
Interesting.
If you should require to meet with him in person, you're most likely to find him there.
Interesting.
While you're here, Inspector, could I set you up with a room?
Sure. What have you got?
Only the best, sir, of course. You'll be staying in our luxurious penthouse suite, vacated just recently. So recently that unfortunately the room's still being cleaned.
Because of the murder?
I'm sure it'll be ready for you by the time you've examined the crime scene. I believe Constable Keene should be waiting for you in the Grand Ballroom.
You know, I didn't see the Grand Ballroom on my way in.
Oh, the ballroom's right behind the tower elevators. Swing a left or a right, then cut through the crowd of spectators. You can't miss it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. I would love to just sneak into your place. Can I just do that? You know what? Hold on. I need to finish this thought. So we're going to just save. Because I've clearly been on this thought for a moment and have not been able to finish it. So we're going to save. And then I'm going to finish the thought. And then I'm going to go and break into their places. Okay. So even when people are older in a lot of these sort of trans spaces, they tend to have the same experience. And that is those spaces tend to be dominated by people who have not transitioned yet. Or I suppose who don't plan on it. People who have not, a lot of the online spaces are people who have not transitioned yet, who have just started. And they usually go to these spaces because they don't know what transition's like, and they don't know how it's going to work and what's going to happen. And so they're like, I don't know what's going to happen and what am I going to do here? And it's like a lot of people who've, they don't know what it's like, what's going to happen, but it tends to stay in that conversation. And there tends to be very little space to have conversations about what it's like to be trans after you've transitioned, when you transitioned 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So there's a kind of a way in which those communities end up tending to be dominated by people who are pre-transition or very, very early transition or maybe non-transition. And they don't tend to sort of allow space for people who have transitioned a while back. There's not a lot of space for them. And so people who have transitioned a while back tend to leave those spaces because there's actually really no room for them to have any space. So you hang out in those spaces online, and then you can think there are no older trans people or people who've transitioned a while back because they don't tend to feel welcome in those spaces after a while because there's no space for them. And so people are always like, oh, I had never met anybody who's been trans for longer than 3 years. And people will sometimes lament the lack of people who've transitioned earlier as like role models or people to talk to or ask questions of. And I remember I was being in those spaces, and after I transitioned, I tried to stay around as long as I could. But the same thing kind of happened, like, kind of got pushed out, and so I left, and that was some years ago. So I decided to come back in again because I wanted to, like, do public service, right? I was like, well, people always say they've never seen anybody who's transitioned a while ago, so let me go and rejoin these servers so that at least I could be a resource for folks. Because, like, I like to try to, I'd like to try to do my public duty, right? That's a thing that's important to me, is giving back to the community in different ways. A good support group really helps with someone's taking those first steps. I had a friend who transitioned in the early 2000s, and I went to the group with them to help, and I really helped them understand what they were going through. There were a couple of older people, but most were under 30. Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes when they're older people, they're also pre-transition or just starting, right? So it's one of those things where sometimes you'll get people who are older, but they also are in the same spot in their transition journey. And for me, I had an in-person support group that I went to, and that in-person support group was not just pre-transitioners. There are people who were post-transition and had been transitioned for a while, and it was actually really great for me to be in a support group that had people in different parts of their journey, so I actually could see people who were longer along their journey or not. It was actually very cool, and I actually really appreciated being able to meet and talk to people who were older and having space for them to also talk about their journey. But the online spaces don't tend to be that way. The online spaces tend to be dominated by folks who are pre-transitioning. And nowadays, because, and now when I was going through, a lot of those people were not particularly young because people did not really realize you could be trans until older. So there were a lot of sort of older people, and the needs of people who are transitioning a little bit older is different than people who are transitioning younger. But, so that was like a slightly different sort of vibe, but, it was interesting. It was cool. I appreciate it very much. But nowadays, a lot of these support groups are, because look, nowadays you're getting a lot of people who are like 16, 17, 18, 19 in these support groups talking about transition. Whereas like that was not the age range of people in the sort of support groups when I was there, because younger people didn't realize that they could be trans. And so it was just skewed a little bit older. Not the point. Point is about, I went back recently to a number of these communities to do community service. And I have since left them again, because their vibe is not at all. It wasn't good. It's a lot of doom scrolling. Well, not really doom scrolling because they're not scrolling anywhere. But this goes back to height. This is all that's preamble, so I could get to the height conversation that I wanted to tell you about. So I was on one of the forums, and this person was like, "Hey, my life is so miserable. I don't know what to do. I don't think I should ever transition. It'll never work." It was like a lot of like self-hatred, doom, like negativity. And like the thing is, like, they're like, I don't see what the point is, because I'm so short. No one will ever love me. No one will ever date me. There's no even point in transitioning. Like, I hate my life and my body, but there's nothing I can do about it. What's the point? Because I'm just so short, and being short, like, it just will never happen. I'll never be able to pass. And like, it's just, it was just like a whole wall of negativity. And I was like, well, how tall are you? And he said, oh, I'm 5'10". And like 5'10", like what is even the point of transitioning? Because I'll be just so short at 5'10", and like I'll be such a like short freak, and it'll be so awful. And I was like, 5'10" is tall. You're fine. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll be completely fine. 5'10" is totally fine. It's okay. But they had been like wrapped up with this idea of what tall is. Do you know what I mean? That they thought that they would never be able to have a successful life because they were 5'10", which they saw as being super, super short. The sick patient not being able to land was fake news. Yeah, that makes sense. And I was thinking about the ways in which, it's kind of like a form of like toxic masculinity, not from this person, but from the society this person lives in, where they believe that at 5'10" they would never find love. And so, like, you know what I mean? Because men have to be so tall, and 5'10" is above average. And I was like, hey, 5'10" is above average, right? Like, it's like, you will be fine. And somebody else was like, well, like, I'm 5'7", and I understand what it's like to be so short and so below average, and like so basically no one will ever look at you. And Volpez was like, you have to be 6'4" to be successful in America. Must be a Hemsworth. And I was like, 5'7" is also not short, right? And there was this like kind of like got into this like space of like lamenting like how short and they are at like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and how like all this stuff. And Hawkeye says, being tall ain't super great. I'm 6'4". I'm too big for the regular men's section, but almost too small for the big and tall section. Ooh, that's rough. DSP says, I'm 5 foot and I didn't even realize how short I was for a really long time. Mostly I realize it when I can't reach things. And Max Wright's like, I've always been around 5'8". And so here's the thing. They were going on about like, blah, blah, blah. Like basically this fear of never being loved. And really sort of like, and I said, you know, like I'm 5'6", and I'm fine. Like, oh, but 5'6" is so short. And I was like, it is not short. And here's the thing that I wanted to get to, right? Besides the fact that clearly weird beauty standards for men are emphasizing unrealistic heights, but also, and as Paladin holds, anyone can be loved, absolutely. But also, 5'8" is not average if you are Latinx or Asian American, right? There are a lot of people for whom the average male height is like 5'5". Like there are a number of demographics where average male height is 5'5". And so when you insist that the only way to be loved or be considered handsome or worthwhile is if you're like 5'9", 5'10", that's also racist, right? That's also, well, let me put it this way, that's also white supremacist, right? Like, it's just not true. Well, tricky, right? Because there are like a couple of tribes in Africa that are very, very tall, but within this context, we're talking about particular diets and demographics, right? I lived in Los Angeles for a very long time. There are a lot of guys who are like 5'4", 5'5", lots and lots of them. And so sort of framing desirability, and this is not just trans exclusive, I'm just mentioning this because that's where this conversation had started, because I was so sad about it. Framing desirability as tied to height standards that are ethnic or culturally influenced, questionable. Just in the same way, we're like, yeah, you know, the most beautiful, we all know that like objectively through science, blonde people are the most beautiful. And I was like, ooh, hold on, right? That's also racialized, right? You know what I mean? Like, and so like, I just was thinking about how sad that made me, so deeply sad that this person who was 5'10" felt as if they would just have to endure crippling body dysphoria and not transition, because if they transitioned, they'd be so short and they would never be able to have some kind of a life. And I was like, this is, what has society done, right, to do this to you? Well, I mean, I know what society's done. Society's terrible. But it's part of the ways in which male beauty standards, like we have female beauty standards, which are oppressive. And absolutely, men can get away with a lot more than women can, like especially aging. Like men can get older in ways that women cannot. And I'm not going to diminish that in any way, because women's beauty standards are pretty awful. But we have increasingly more and more intense beauty standards for men that are also super unhealthy, and more men are getting eating disorders. And so I'm just saying that I was thinking, this is all about height, but I was thinking about how I, as a 5'6" person, I just don't think of myself as short. I just don't. I think of myself as average. And I was average in the 80s. Technically, I suppose I'm not anymore, but I just don't like, and also who cares? Do you know what I mean? But I think a lot about the ways in which in the last couple of decades, average height has gotten taller, and our emphasis on height as it being important has gotten, for men, has gotten more intense. Like I see all the time in like dating apps, like I will never date anybody under 6 foot. And I was like, okay. I won't ever date somebody who's who has that attitude about height, so that probably works out well. But it just made me sad on the inside to see somebody internalize a kind of shame and self-hatred based on something that that's just not even true. Do you know what I mean? And it just made me sad. I tried my best. I tried to say like, hey, people of all sorts of heights find love, and like whether or not you're tall or not, it has nothing to do with whether or not you'll find love. And also, you probably do not want to date somebody who would judge you that way, right? That's not a person you should be dating, right? And if it's true, which I don't think it is, actually I know it's not, that like 95% of all people would never date you because you're under 6 foot, you just don't want to date those people. Find that 5% who is not going to be like that, and you'll have a much better life. But, it's just like self-selection. That's great. But it just made me very sad. And I was just thinking a lot about the kind of messed up things, right? The way these things are sort of hitting. And of course, look, there are industries, capitalist industries, that are going to capitalize off of the manufacturing a crisis in terms of desirability for height. They'll be like, here, we have a whole industry for lifts. And now they're like plastic surgeries where people will like break your legs, extend your leg. Like, there's just, oof. Love, yeah, that's what I didn't like it. Can you sit in a movie theater and see past the person ahead of you? You are not short. And also we can just stagger the seats. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't even have to. Javai says, average height is rarely seen as average, but rather as short. Ooh, good point, Javai. If I recall correctly, I'm like 1 to 2 centimeters shorter than male average here, and while I don't feel short, my instinct is often to view myself as noticeably below average until I remind myself that is stupid. But still, absolutely, Javai. Like you're really getting to like part of this thing that I want to hit, that we have a lot of like many people like average, right? Many people are average. That's what averages are. Do you know what I mean? But we end up having a media system that makes average the above average, if that makes any sense, right? Which then really skews people's sense of self. And that makes me sad. And Hawkeye says, yeah, all my height comes from the Swede side of my family. Most of my genetics are Irish, which aren't as tall. Absolutely. That's the other thing too. Like, not all white people are tall either. Like, are we talking about people from Portugal? Or are we talking about people from Sweden? Are we talking about people from Sicily? Or like, what are we talking about? Like, this is sort of like ethnic, and I think a lot has to do with food. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of things going on in there, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Max is like, I love redheads. And Vola says, the fashion industry is not helping this situation. Absolutely not. The fashion industry, how terrible. Like, look, I think clothes are cool, but like the way they treat models is not great, right? Voltail, I won't ever date anyone who's under 6 foot. Thanks for waving that red flag around. It saved us both this time. Yes, Voltail, that is where I'm at. Like, that's a big red flag, and that's just an indicator that we should probably never date.
10 bits. This is all just some sort
Because if that's where you're at,
Oh, come on.
that's
The lounge closed.
not where I want to be at. See, look at this. We are...
With Halcyon Helen gone, does that mean Spencer Woolrich will get all her roles?
I certainly hope not. That man doesn't even act as well as I do.
Oh, hey, there's drama. That's very exciting. Hey, Bellhop Norville. Do you have anything we can talk about?
The crime scene's awaiting,
Well,
Inspector.
Yeah, I know.
Can't believe something like
I
this
wanna
could
rechat,
happen
though.
in my hotel. When I found her, I was just hoping she had a little too much to drink, but all the grievous bodily injury adds up, I suppose.
Hold on. That's an interesting comment. Hawkeye says, I find it amazing how much men's appearance care sections have grown in stores over the last year. It's almost ludicrous. Absolutely. They want to sell stuff, right? Blue Pointer says, honestly, I prefer dating someone closer to my own height, 5'5". Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of that preference for height that some women will show is also about sexism. And I don't mean it in terms of the women being sexist, but there are a lot of women who, when I hear them talk on social media, they're like, yeah, I really want to date a tall man because if I don't date a tall man, I'm going to feel like I'm too tall and big. And I know that as a woman, I need to be small and dainty. And so I need to date somebody who's really tall and big so that I can feel small and dainty. Otherwise, I'm not going to come off as like a good woman and feminine enough. So like some of that is about the ways in which our system has also placed in a number of women who have not worked through that really uncool ideas about what it means to be a woman in our society that is also unhealthy and terrible. And so like this is like part of like, and that's the thing about patriarchy, right? That patriarchy hits everybody. It doesn't just hit women, it hits everybody. And that whole like you must be tall thing is part of patriarchy. That's part of that whole system that is disadvantageous to everyone. And like it's not in anybody's best interest to have this kind of a system where men must always be big and tall and strong and tough, and women must always be small and dainty and weak. Like, this is no good for anybody. And yeah. Volpe says that the first problem, dating apps take a horrible thing, right, and condense it into the absolute worst of all. Absolutely. And Hawkeye says, And those are the same people who say, love me as I am. Drummer Boy says, socialization has kind of been co-opted by social media and not in-person interaction. Yes. And that is very problematic. I don't envy teens trying to find their identity these days when all they see is algorithmically driven towards those kinds of unrealistic standards. Absolutely. It's got to wreak havoc on self-esteem, particularly in trans folks who I assume have an extra layer of issues to deal with. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's really hard, right? But I will note, it's not even just social media. I mean, it is, but it's not just social media. There are a number of things that have happened over time that make this worse and worse, right? And some of these things are, like a lot of diversity that would have happened in the past does not happen now because of the kind of medical and technological advances we have, right? So there are a lot of societies that have more than 2 genders, right? That is, it is not unstandard in societies to have more than 2 genders. There's a group in Siberia that has 5, right? There are many groups that have more than multiple genders, and how we even understand genders has been very different. But the kind of very rigid way that we think about genders now is very much impacted by the fact that in the 20th century, pediatric surgeons got the ability to do they basically figured out how to do genital surgery on newborns, on small babies. And we had this habit for the longest time where doctors would say, they'd look at a baby, if that baby had like a penis, but the penis was very, very small, they'd say like, you know what, it's really not fair to this child to let them have a very, very small penis. They won't be able to function in society well. So we'll just turn this baby into a girl baby. This is about dealing with intersex babies. And so if they thought that your penis was too small for what they thought would be a good penis size, they would turn you into a girl. If you were a baby that had a clitoris and that was too large for what they thought a clitoris size should be, they would cut it down, right? So in the past, before people had the ability to do this, people just had more variety in their bodies. And then we lived in a society where what a body looked like could be varied, right? And so our ideas of bodies would be varied. But now, we have surgical interventions going on for quite some time in the 20th century where they would just make sure that everybody's body looked a bit more the same. And I think the rise of the spread, and I'm going to say this just to be very careful, I'm not saying this in like a anti-pornography way, but the spread of pornography with its, well, post-80s pornography. Pre-80s pornography was different because it was still illegal to make pornography before the 80s. So the people who went into pornography also tended to have a variety of bodies. But post-80s, you just get a narrowing and a narrowing and a narrowing of what kinds of bodies you would see in pornography, or like in Playboy, Penthouse, all those kinds of things, Playgirl. And so people who are going to see naked bodies besides themselves for like the first time, and they see them through these places, what they see are bodies that have been shaped to all look the same way. And those ways are ways that are not average, that are not, they're just not average, right? So many people now have an idea of what a body looks like that is sometimes not even attainable or realistically not naturally occurring. And it has narrowed what we think bodies look like or should look like in ways that will always make someone feel insufficient. And that is not healthy, and it's not great. It's not great, right? And they've had the same thing about like filters. There was just a study that teens who look at social media have like way less self-esteem. Like the more they look at like social media, the less self-esteem they have because of like body issues. And so I just think about how do we, and I don't think we can stop social media from existing, but I think what we need to do is really be mindful about teaching critical thinking skills, like teach people about, and of course it's not even just social media, because they were doing it in like magazine covers, like pre-Photoshop, they would like conglomerate and like thin down people. Like I'm sure you've seen those before and after photos of models for photoshopping, where you see what the person looks like, and then you see what it looks like on the actual cover, where like all the wrinkles have been taken out, their thighs have been slimmed down, their body shape has been basically shaped by post-production, and that's not even what they look like. And so we think that people look like this thing, but they don't look like that at all. That's not how people look. They don't even look like that. Some of the people we're looking at just don't even look like that. And so I don't think we can stop that from happening, but if maybe we could teach people about how images are manipulated, about how filters are working, and about how what we're seeing is not giving, like, if we can encourage them to get a kind of a process, have them understand the process of image manipulation, maybe that could help. But then we would have to spend some time teaching those kind of critical thinking and knowledge skills that I don't think advertisers want that, because advertisers are trying to sell a fantasy as reality. And if we expose that this is not reality but fantasy, that might hurt their advertising. Do you know what I mean? And so I suppose they wouldn't want that, but still, it's not good. PH says, I'm tall, and there have been girls who liked me just because I'm tall, and that also sucks. Oh, absolutely, PH. That all, like, you never, the thing is, you neither want to be hated nor fetishized. Both of those things are the same size, two sides of the same coin. People think, well, if I don't hate you, that's not bad. And I was like, no, but you're like creeping on me. Like, that's not, being fetishized is not, it's still gross. Max Rider is definitely average. Artie Snack says, yeah, they want people to do that for them, but when it comes to anyone else, they have a long list of requirements. Yeah. Max says, okay, off to walk the dogs before my own stream. Okay, see you when you come back. Javai says, also to note, I'm from Sweden, so being pretty much sweet average makes it really silly to ever consider myself as short. I'm actually kind of tall for a global perspective of it. Yeah, and that's the thing. If you look at global averages, again, it's not going to be like 5'10". It's going to be shorter. That hat's so good. I always thought the little round flat hats the bellhops used to wear were kind of... Max, I also really love the bellhop caps. I think they're really cool. I really like them. I actually want one. Hey, Blue Pointer. Then you have the Amazons, which buck that trend entirely. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Blue Pointer. To be fair, before social media, we were controlled by algorithmic television commercials, magazine cover. Like it has been here for a while in the U.S. Like at least the entire 20th century. And Bar Garwin says, always remember that porn anatomy should be viewed as the anatomy of professionals. Don't judge yourself by those standards. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Right? They are set up to be the ideal, which is so damaging. Yeah, and also ideal for pornography, which may not be ideal for anything else, right? Because pornography is really interesting about this, right? Hey, Ambar Garwin. One second. Drummer Voice is true, but now there are televisions in our pockets whose goals to occupy all of our attention. Yeah. Yeah. And Jerry's like, sure, but as a latchkey kid, I didn't have much option but to stay inside and watch TV. Yeah. Artie says, advertising politicians don't want people to have critical thinking skills as it makes their jobs harder. True. Blue Pointer, I regret not being able to purchase my bellhop uniform. Oh, that would have been so... I know. You were lying in a pool of blood and your first thought was, I wonder if she's drunk?
Hey, Byzantines and restraint aren't two words that often go together. Wouldn't be the first blood-soaked, unconscious party-goer I've come across. Anyway, I'm sure you've got questions.
Okay, well, do you want to give me more details about how you came... How did you see Helen on the day of her death?
Of course I did. I just told you I found the body.
No, I meant...
Oh, wait. You mean when she was still breathing?
Yes, that's what I meant.
No, of course I didn't. Plus, it's untoward for an employee to speculate about the actions of a hotel guest. Not that I saw any hotel guests interacting with her.
So we have two things here. We have the Persuade 65, which I can do. We also have Lie 65 with a special little icon on it. And I don't know what that icon means, but it's a special icon, so I feel like I should use it. Right? Does that mean, like, yes? It looks special, so I feel like I should do it. It looks like a little person with a plus sign. And I don't know what it means, but I feel like I should do it. That comment was in regard to models on magazines. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the one where if the inspector breaches confidentiality, the inspectee feeds them to a horde of hungry sprats, right? I can talk then. Day of her death, I saw Helen leave the hotel premises with the profit of profitability.
Oh.
And didn't see her come back. A little on the suspicious side, I think. Seemed especially strange, seeing how, as far as I was aware, the two didn't get on.
Interesting. Well, what's the deal with the profit of profitability? Is she a guest?
Yep. Gives seminars on increasing profit margins and the like.
Suspicious.
Can't say much else, seeing how I ain't in the gossip market.
Well, why didn't Helen and the Prophet get along?
Far as I can recall, Helen dismissed the ladies' seminars in some kind of interview. Said her co-star used them, but she didn't. The top rungers are always ready to read between the lines of famous folks and seem to think the prophet was on her way out. Woman lost a ton of bits and is set to lose more.
Interesting. Well, back to my other questions. But also...
I hope all that helped.
Thank you.
I'd like to be as useful as I can in the investigation.
Sure.
I just didn't want to steer anyone the wrong way.
Sure. But I still want to say something about pornography, so we have to find out. Do you have any idea who might have wanted to do Helen in?
Everyone's got theories. I don't reckon mine hold much more weight than anyone else's.
Okay, would you want to give me more details on how you came across the body?
Sure, I'd taken to checking the ballroom every few hours prior to the unveiling. Just to make sure no sprats had snuck into the place.
Of course.
You understand?
Of course.
Found her right before I was set to head back to my room in the lower levels for my mandated 5-hour sleep period. Hell yeah. Thank the law for caffeinoid. Been too upset to get a wink of sleep since. And hey, now I can finally see smells.
Oh, wow. Hey, I'm just going to ask, did you kill Helen? I mean, you can tell me if you did. It'll be our secret. I mean, I don't think you did, but I'm just asking.
No! Just because I found the corpse doesn't mean I made her a corpse.
I'm just asking.
I was in shift all day.
I know.
Besides, I loved Helen's
yes,
serials.
I see.
Well, the old ones anyway. The newer episodes are hot junk on a warm day.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you have any idea why Helen would have been in the ballroom after hours?
Beats all hell out of me. Maybe she was, practicing for the unveiling?
Interesting. Back to my other questions.
Sure. What's on your mind?
I'm good, thank you. Okay, we got some good info. We're going to do this full-on, full-on Agatha Christie. Okay, so about pornography. I have no idea how... I feel like no one's going to have to go... no one's going to go in... algorithm, I don't care.
Black hole birdies disappeared, you know. The poor fellow must be inconsolable.
The reason why... Look, I've actually done some studying on on pornography for like a music paper I had to do. But also, I had a friend of mine who's a sociologist who worked on...
Inspector, hope you catch that killer soon.
Thank you. Pornography from a sociological perspective, very interesting. So, here's the thing to think about in terms of pornography. We think of...
Oh, thank the law. Inspector, you don't know how relieved I am to see you.
Hey, Constable Keene. Oh, nice. So the thing about pornography is that people think that what you're watching is people having sex. Like, oh, if I want to see people having sex, I will watch the pornography. Oh, look, it is people having sex. But the thing is, what I think they do not realize is that it's a film set. Do you know what I mean? If you look at professional pornography, it's a film set. They're there for 8 hours. Do you know what I mean? It's like they do a full film shoot, and it's hours long. I saw this. I have to tell you this. I thought it was super, super interesting. I was watching a German TV show because you know how German TV, Europeans in general tend to be a little bit more open around sexuality and sex than Americans are. We're a little bit more prudish, and there's a drag queen TV presenter who was big in Germany in the 90s, and I wish I could remember. Artie says, you should have a conversation with Ariana about porn sometime. I think that would be quite interesting. It would be. You know, Arnie is great and has just the greatest things to say, and I think that Arnie is, like, awesome. Super smart, super awesome. Like, much love. It was if anybody who's German and who is maybe a little bit older can remember, what is the name of that person? Was it Lilo Wanders? Lilo Wanders, that's who it was. So Lilo Wanders was like kind of like a drag queen, sort of, ish, in Germany, who was also like a talk show presenter. And Lilo Wanders had a talk show that in Germany in the 90s that sort of dealt with some kind of sexuality topics. And in this one show I watched, Lilo Wanders was interviewing a male porn star. Hey, improv in D&D. It's a male porn star. And he was talking about what it was like being a male porn star, and he was saying that what would happen is that usually on any sort of set, they would hire like the female porn star who would be like important, like the porn actor, and then they would hire they would call in 10 different men to be the partner with this woman, and they would line those all men up, and they'd be like, okay, number 1, are you ready to go? And if they were not ready to go, they didn't get the job. 2, are you ready to go? Yes, no, okay, out. And like they'll just go down the line and see who would be ready to go. And those men have got to be able to perform for 5 hours, right? 6, 7 hours. And this was back in the 90s before Viagra, right? So you had to be able to perform for hours on end before Viagra. And nowadays there's Viagra. So there's a lot of like abuse of Viagra in the porn industry for men. But the thing is, you have to be able to perform for hours, right? On a set in front of lights. And the women have to be there. Both these people are there on a set creating a fantasy of sex, right? They themselves are probably not actually having a good time, because if they have a good time, then they will no longer be able to perform, right? So they are in a mental space where they can keep themselves physically able to perform, but like psychologically they got to keep themselves a bit removed from that. They've got to do this for like hours at a time with people watching them in the middle of lights, and they have to use positions that may not feel good for them but looks good for the camera, right? So what you're seeing is not even what might feel good for anyone involved, or what might be sustainable, or like what it's a completely artificial thing that they took 5 hours to make and then edit down into 15 minutes or whatever it's going to be. And it's not, so people will look at pornography and they think, oh, that's what it's like. But that's not what it's like. That is what is being filmed for camera, right? In the same way that many people will look at fights on film and they'll think that's what fights are like, but that's not what fights are like. First off, there's no Foley artist to go, you know what I mean? Like, you don't punch people in the face and get this like huge punching ham sound, you know what I mean? Like, because that's just not what it sounds like. And that's not what a fight looks like. It doesn't last that long. Fights are often not that long. If people are fighting, like, you hit somebody in the head, they're probably going to go down and we're done. You know what I mean? And it's messy and it doesn't look good on camera. And so we have all been inundated with all sorts of things, violence, sex, looks, everything, in camera spaces that are not what it looks like. Do you know what I mean? Like, what we're seeing and hearing is often not anything that exists in real life in any kind of way that we think of it, but we don't know it, right? Because part of the whole thing is to sell this fantasy. And so we buy this fantasy, but we don't realize that what we're buying is a fantasy. And I don't mind people having fantasies. I just want them to know that it's a fantasy. But I think if they realized, I think many people, they want the fantasy though, right? They want to think that this is what it's like, but it's not what it's like. And the problem is, when you think that's what it's like, then you judge yourself versus this standard, but that standard's not even like an attainable standard. It's not even really happening. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. Back from putting away groceries, check out the Consent Academy streams tomorrow to hear from her. You know, Artie, the thing is, she always streams so early. Right, she streams at like 9 in the morning, right? Like 8, 9, like she sometimes at 7 in the morning. That is, I go to bed only a couple hours before she started streaming, so I can never really make her streams because they're way too early for me. Yeah, 5 hours, yeah. And what porn is like, and they have to take directions, right? They have to take directions because they're performing, right? Yeah. Drummer Boy says, a bit of a weird tangent, sure, but I did the OST for a porn game last year, and I learned a lot about some of the weird quirks of that industry. Like, for example, you can't put petite women with small breasts in a game, or it'll be flagged for child stuff, right? Which forces all the devs and artists to put hilariously large breasts on short women to avoid that flag. Yeah, which is weird, right? So there are all these things that show up, right? Yeah. Yeah. And just like how medical dramas aren't actually how hospitals work. Absolutely. Anime can get away with it to a point, but not 3D. Yeah. Or lab techs and SAS. 11 a.m. for us tomorrow. No, wait. Tomorrow? Wait. Do we have a later one? Do we have a later stream tomorrow? 11 PST. So oh, she's streaming not at like dark 30 for me tomorrow? Wait a minute. I'm going to write this down. Hold on. 1 p.m. ET, Aria, Consent Academy. Oh, it's 2? Oh, you're right, it's 2 p.m. Sweet. All Sunday streams are at that time. Oh, nice. Could you maybe, can we get a... Oh, it's her Tuesday streams are early, thank you. I think I've been riding my bike at that time. But if that's cool, all right, hold on. Can I get a... Is it just Consent Academy? Because I want to put out a shout out. I don't know if this is right. No, I bet that's not right. Let me see. I want to put a... Oh, she's trying to get Cheryl on Sunday. Right. It's Consent Academy, right? Is that right? Is that right? If you don't, if none of y'all know Aria, y'all should check out Aria. Good, we're at the right spot. Speaking of which, there was a stream, I found out about a musicology stream that happens on Thursdays that I wanted to go and watch, so I've got to remember to check that out. Oh, okay, cool. So nice. There was something I want to tell you, but Constable Keene, it's nice to meet you. We spoke over the ether wave.
Constable Maria Keene. It's good to meet you in person, Inspector.
Dr. Goodnight. Ecstatic to make your various
Medical.
acquaintances and so on. Are we finished with the pleasantries? There's something I'm excited to show you.
Cool. So here's the thing I was going to say about the ways that media impact people's lives in ways that are not great. Like, and I don't mean, like, that's a moment I'm not just talking about, like, body image, right? But so on this discussion of, like, because Hawkeye was talking about medical things, there is a thing called the CSI effect, which in that shows, like, because, we didn't really have a lot of these, like, forensic shows before. Like, CSI was really the big one. And ever since CSI has been, like, it's like CSI, like, those shows are, like, top 10 most popular TV shows, you know what I mean? Like, they very consistently. But there has been studies that show that CSI has impacted how the general public sees evidence for crimes, what they think of as evidence or what they think of as not evidence, what they think of as realistic or not realistic for to be available. And this has had an impact in courtrooms, right? So when people are in the jury pool, they have said that it's actually very, very difficult to be able to prove someone has done something without the kind of forensic evidence that those jury members have seen existing on CSI, which is generally not the kinds of forensic evidence that even happens in real life, right? And so that the shows themselves and people sort of watching them uncritically without knowledge has had a very negative impact on, has had a negative impact on the court systems. I also think about something that I think about that makes me feel very uncomfortable, which is like the opposite direction. I actually like by the way, I like the pattern on this person's head thing. There are all these shows, Lockup. They're documentaries, but they're not. They're like these shows on, I don't know, wherever you find them. And they basically go into jails and they film people and they just talk to people who are in jails about their lives and whatnot. And I've always felt very uncomfortable with those shows because, first off, a jail is not a prison. There are people when you've been arrested, but you have not been convicted yet, you've not been found guilty of anything, you've just been arrested, they send you to jail, right? Especially if you cannot make bail. And so there are people on these shows who have not been found guilty of any crimes. They're just being held there before their trial, and they're being shown on this show, this reality show, as if they are criminals, and then as if they're guilty. And they'll usually say, like, well, I didn't do it. But of course, because you're showing person after person inside of a jail saying, well, I didn't do it, the framing is people who say they didn't do it, they totally did it, right? Like the ways in which these documentaries or whatever reality shows, whatever they are, frame people in prison, what they show and what they don't show, what they allow to be said, what they don't allow to be said, really skews our idea of what's happening in the prison industrial complex, and not in a good way, right? And so I think there's just a bit of a concern that I have about the ways in which our media, and I don't mean just now, I mean, this has been going for a very long time, can shape or influence, right? Skew, warp, distort what we think of as being true or not true in ways that can be harmful to society at large and also to ourselves. That is what I'm thinking about. Vola says, yeah, it seems to be okay to old people to pinch cheeks of younger people in weddings and say, you are next, but it is frowned upon when young folk go and pinch cheeks of old-timers at funerals and say, you are Volas? That's hilarious. Chicago Mayor Lori Lighthouse very recently says, said, yes, there's a presumption of innocence, but when they're in jail, they're guilty. Yeah, I saw that, and that is not... That's not how our system works, but that is how the TV works. You know what I mean? I'm guessing you're talking about, let's say, what have you got for me, Doctor?
An extraordinary contraption. You'll love it.
Our coroner has developed a device which may prove useful in your investigation. Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you.
Oh.
Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you. Oh, please. You make it sound as if I'm turning over stolen goods. Behold, my discrepancy amplifier. Hold it in your hands. Feel the way it hums with ontological potential.
Oh, what does this thing do exactly?
I'm so glad you asked. Allow me to explain. The discrepancy amplifier uses a deterministic model of our universe to detect the discrepancy between what should be and what actually is. Then it renders any discrepancies visible by using the power of magnification.
Got it. Thanks.
Go on then. Give it a try.
Okay.
Just treat the amplifier as you would a weapon.
Okay.
Hold it good and steady and look down scope.
I'm contractually prohibited from endorsing off-brand technology, but I'll bend that rule just this once. You'll want to peer into the amplifier and examine the crime scene.
Cool. Seems like we've got a new bit of a new... Oh. The discrepancy amplifier. Greetings, Inspector. Thanks to the half-genius, half-mad scientific mind of Dr. Goodnight. Goodnight? Goodnight. I don't know how you would... I feel like if it's a last name, you'd say Goodnight. Weird. You've been granted the discrepancy amplifier, a handy investigation device for uncovering clues throughout Eridanos. Be sure to equip the discrepancy amplifier in a weapon slot before you continue your hunt for Helen's killer. Well, well. Well, well. By the way, we've been talking, so I have to, eat more food in game, but we're gonna... Discrepancy amplifier all over the place. Let's put this in my sniper spot. Swap? No. Unequip. And then let's equip this. Boom. Fancy. And then also, let's... Oh no! Wrong button. Sorry about that. Wrong button. Wrong button. Scanning Eridanos for evidence. To catch Helen's killer, you'll need to use the discrepancy amplifier's scope to reveal clues not visible to the naked eye. Once you've located some evidence, aim directly at it while zooming in with the scope and press the interact button to analyze it. Cool. Thanks. Sweet. This is a very steampunk sort of device. It looks pretty exciting, but we're going to save because I see how it is. But I still want to tell you a thing. I still have a thought. We have just done so much today. Look, we've talked about stuff that's important. Oh, in prison. Yeah. Max says, our garage fridge broke. I usually have a beer or two during my stream. Might do mixed drinks. Ooh, mixed drinks are nice. DSB says, oh, I do love something with some ontological potential. Yes. Blue Pointer says, also, since Dragnet, yep, law enforcement shows have been incentivized by law enforcement to always paint them as right and noble no matter what they do. Yeah, and the same thing with the military now has been, saying like, hey, Marvel Films, if you want to use our stuff, we have to be able to see if we like what you're going to say. Like, there's a lot of money is spent by the government to influence our media in ways that we don't even know about. You know what I mean? And we should just maybe know. Yeah, and Javai says, so often it's forgotten that fiction, even when we are well aware of it is fiction, shapes our view of reality. Because this goes back to Brecht, by the way. Artie says, also there is a whole tendency for people to assume white people are innocent and POC people are guilty. Yes. And also, this thing I want to tell you about the guy on the bus, don't let me forget, I want to tell you about the guy on the bus. DSB says, it's so interesting how people are so unwilling to hear that the person telling them that something has a vested interest in making them believe that something, such as a billionaire claiming to be just a regular hardworking American who just happened to become a billionaire through grit and brilliance. Right. Yes. Thank you for the half-hour warning. Thank you, half-hour, Jer. Vola says, social status like wealth plays a part. Yep. People often assume a trucker biker is bad while a suit-wearing individual isn't. Absolutely. The thing is, we have all these hierarchies. Class, race, gender, region, ability status, size, et cetera, et cetera. And those, and I think that's one of the things when people talk about how we need to like fight classism or racism or regionalism and why we want representation and et cetera. People are like, what does it matter? It's like, well, it matters because we often don't believe people who are on the other end of that hierarchy, right? When you look at fat versus thin, it happens all the time. A fat person goes into the doctor and is like, oh, hey, I'm having this thing. And the doctor will be like, oh, it's because you're fat. And, or like, I don't believe you. Like, they're believed less, right? When they say what's going on with them than a thin person would be. And so we do this all the time when it comes to all these hierarchies of like, who gets to be believed when they tell you something? Who gets to be listened to? And so these sort of like systems of oppression are bad, not just because here's the thing. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because somebody might say, well, yeah, but I mean, they can't fire you for being from Texas, so what's the big deal? I'm like, well, first off, that kind of depends where you're at. But it matters because it's not just about whether you can be fired or not. It's also about whether or not you're believed when something happens to you. It's also about whether or not people point to you first to see that, you know, you're the wrong one or whatever it is. Like, there's like more to it than just legislation is, I think, the way I'd put it. And I think we sometimes forget that there are these larger things that are also really important that are tied into these hierarchical systems we have, you know? And Javai says, and that's why sci-fi fantasy shows can be so important in changing people's opinions. Absolutely. Yes. Half hour herd? I don't believe billionaires is that bad. Crone's like, no, Max, that's normal. No one gets to be a billionaire by being trustworthy. And Bargarman says, like they 100% fire you for something like that. Mm-hmm. They just need to be able to lie about it. Why, if asked, and they usually aren't. And that's true. That's the thing. You're not allowed to, but you can usually still do it if you want to. Quite a few workers in Dublin today will be sharing your opinion, Max. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Especially also like in right to work states where they can just fire you whenever they want to, like for whatever reason. That's just totally fine. So, all right, so we need to look at the crime scene. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize it had a thing going on. I just want to, oh, nope, wrong button. This button? Oh, wrong button. Sorry about that, everybody. I keep giving myself injections, and I really don't mean to. I just want to, zoom in. There's like a zoom button, but I don't know what that is. Well, all right. What do we have here? Analyze.
This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification?
Sure. Science 45. I see you've been designed with a modular analytical system. What else can you do?
The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier,
Blue X,
tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
Wow.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you.
Okay, well, let's get started. Tell me about this discrepancy you found.
This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky B.
Was she trying to spell the name of her killer?
This hypothesis is plausible, but requires additional information.
A B could... I'm going to be like, oh, wait. Okay, everybody, Eridanos, here we are. I need a hat. Next Saturday, I'll have a hat. It's too late to get a hat now. But the B could stand for anything. Like Spectrum Brown?
Now calculating likelihood of Halcyon Helen using her final moments to endorse Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Low to moderate likelihood.
Isn't Black Hole Birdie staying here? Dun dun dun. I need to get that.
I was wondering about that. Before we arrived, I heard something on the aether waves about Black Hole Birdie taken up at the Grand Colonial.
Correct. Bertie Black Hole Holcomb is a registered guest at the Grand Colonial Hotel.
I am going to need to find a sound, and I need a sound that's like a... No, that's not good. That's not good. Nope. Good, but not the one I want. Nope. 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 Okay, I want a bum bum bum. I'm going to find one. I'm going to get a bum bum bum. I'm going to make it a little sound pad so that when it's appropriate, like the certain moments in our investigation, I can just go bum bum bum, because that is what I want in my life. I just need you to know that. In my life, that is what I need. I'm glad that we've all come to understand each other. Is there anyone else that I should know about?
Accessing guest database B. The Grand Colonial Hotel is proud to serve the following VIPs. Bertie, Black Hole. Burbage 3001.
Make a note of this for later, Amplifier.
This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved compliment. Splendid work, Inspector.
Thanks. Y'all, for this DLC, I'm gonna have a hat. It'll be a fedora, and I'm gonna find a really good bum 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 little stinger. I'm gonna put it in this little button, so when it happens, we can do it. And then I feel like my life will be perfect, and I will be able to rule the universe. Crime in Outer Worlds is an oxymoron for sure. Yeah, and Artie Stack knows they might not be able to fire you, but they could definitely make your time there awful. Absolutely. Artie says, I remember doing that by accident a lot when I played this. The inhaler, yeah. Just and Javai says, how crimes are described also vary a lot based on wealth level of the common perp, like how a person stealing from a store is described and viewed versus a CEO committing wage theft. The thief is often viewed more harshly, even though wage theft is likely to have stolen much more money. Yeah. And I think, Javai, that's such a good point. Wage theft is a thing. They're like also embezzlement, or let's just say white collar crime. Like I think about white collar criminals who steal like hundreds of thousands of dollars from people and destroy the lives of like hundreds and hundreds of people. And people are like, oh, what? Huh? And I think about that in one way. I was thinking about the manager for the Backstreet Boys was like a major swindler. Like he wasn't just like a bad manager who was like screwed people over in the music industry business. Like he actually like stole people's pensions, and he like swindled people's pensions. And I think about how he was viewed negatively, but I think it's because he did not start off as rich. Do you know what I mean? Like he did not start off as rich. He sort of comes in this space and swindles people's stuff. But if he were just like a predatory business owner who did the same thing, I don't think people would view him the same way. And I think about that a lot. I think about wage theft, like full-on wage theft, right? Like not like little mini wage theft, but full-on wage theft, and how people just don't see that as, they do not report that as being a crime, even though it is a crime, right? Yes, Krillin, I want the dramatic hamster sound. That's what I want. We've gone from evil to the sun to death in the Nile. Absolutely. Oh, I could have a pipe. Oh, I'm next week, y'all. We're going to be an investigator. I'm going to have a hat. I'll have a pipe. I'm going to have a dramatic sound. The dramatic hamster sound. Absolutely. I don't know if it will be a pipe, though. By stealing from one person is a crime, stealing from many is just the cost of doing business. Yeah. It's because they're already destroying people and being obscenely rich, Zimbargo. And the dramatic hamster sound is a clip from Young Frankenstein, probably not usable due to DNC, but maybe. Yeah, but here's the thing. You can just say, you can just do it yourself, right? You don't have to actually get a... So what I'm thinking, Drummer Boys, I'll just pull up like pull up Logic and just hit that MIDI. Bum, bum, bum. That's the thing, right? I just make it myself. And then you've made it yourself. And 3 notes are not really copyrightable like that. And I think it'll be fine. He really was from the Backstreets, They blame the victim. They shouldn't have allowed themselves to be fooled. That's true, actually. Right? We don't do that with all sorts of crimes, but we do that with that one. Dramatic squirrel. Yes, you're right. I think the music is actually from Young Frankenstein. Yep. If you can only have a pipe if you can blow bubbles from it. Oh. Yes. Okay, so it isn't white-collar crimes often done in a different court, even like civil court or something instead of crime court? Oh, Krellin, you would think that under 10 seconds is fair use, but here's the thing. While it might be, they will still flag you for it. They will flag you for like things that are not even audible. It's pretty amazing. And by amazing, I mean bad. and while yes, it may. Ooh. Oh, nope, not what I wanted. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just go here for a second, and I'm gonna see. I really feel like it was no. I feel like it might be a R1. 1, 2. Oh, nope, wrong button. Let me go to something I know has a zoom on it. I'm pretty sure this has a zoom on it, does it? Maybe it doesn't. Look, I know that there's a zoom in here somewhere. This must have a zoom. Nope. We'll figure it out. We'll find it at some point in time. I don't know when and where we'll find it, but we will. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, hey, look at this. Y'all, we're going to be so clue finding, it's going to be ridiculous.
This footprint stands out from the normally
Name
spotless
game.
floor of the grand ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants.
Excuse me, discrepancy amplifier. My buddy Prax has just resubbed and has also is here for the party and the drama, and so I need to sing a song for my buddy Prax. So if you will just, Prax, we're talking about, we had very deep conversation. I wish you'd been here. It was very, very good. We're talking about the ways in which media makes things that are not average seem average, and how that skews, like height. We started with height, and then we were talking about body image, and now we're talking about crime, like white collar crime versus blue collar crime, and then we're talking about pornography, and then we're talking about all sorts of things, like the legal system. The lawyer, what's his face? A Legal Eagle talks all the time about how courts don't work the way they do in the media, and people often, when they see courtroom films, they think that that's how it's going to work out, and that is not how it's going to work out. But that said, by the way, this DLC, super like Agatha Christie investigative, so we're going to have to get like a hat and some music and a pipe, and it's going to be lit. That said, the name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme. You know what? I want castanets out of anybody's name, because that would be cool. The first letter of the name with the castanet. I treat it like it wasn't there. Or maybe it wouldn't be cool, but I still want one. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say, I really do want castanets. Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. And I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Praxagorthosmophoria, Praxagorthosmophoria, Bobaxagorthosmophoria, Fee, Fi, Momaxafaxagorthosmophoria. Oh, I missed the banana fan of foe. Pardon me. Praxagorthosmophoria, Bobaxagorthosmophoria, banana fan of foe, Faxagorthosmophoria, Fee, Fi, Momaxagorthosmophoria, Praxagorthosmophoria. The name game. Who is here 30 months for the party and the drama. Boop, 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 boop. And it's party and drama. Thank you. I think Iron Sights with Scope is the zoom. Oh, yeah. But I feel like there's an extra zoom. I think there's one more zoom in there, which I feel like if I had the sniper rifle I could shoot, because I've seen it. Time of Gift says, like in Citizen Kane, they were going to use the real actor who voiced the news in the march, but they couldn't afford his fee. So one of the Mercury Theater said, I can do that voice. Yes. Yeah. Can you imagine if property like mansions were treated like music and stuff? After a while, they just were public domain. I call dibs in the master bedroom. Well, they have eminent domain. They can just take your stuff if they want it, basically, right? At any and Los Angeles did that. Los Angeles destroyed all sorts of communities of color because they wanted to build their stuff there. Ohio also said drug dealers lose all their assets. I feel like any millionaire or billionaire who commits a crime should all their assets cease. You know what's, Max? It's really interesting because the police department makes huge amounts of money through seizure. Like they will seize your stuff, and even if you didn't commit the crime, they don't always have to give it back. It's interesting. Wait, I never sang for Blue Pointer. What? DSB, thank you. Blue Pointer, I am so sorry that I did not sing the name game for you. And I need to tell you, if the first two letters are ever the same, I drop them both and say the name. I like Bob. Bob drop the B's, Bo, or Fred. Fred drop the F's, for Red, or Mary. Mary drop the M's, Mo, Airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Blue Pointer. Blue Pointer. Blue Pointer, Blue Pointer, Bo, Oo Pointer, Banana, Fana, for Foo Pointer, Fee, Fi, Mo, Moo Pointer. Blue Pointer, the name game. Thank you, DSB, for reminding me, because, you know, I do like to say names that begin with B, F, or M, because then I get to do the extra special thing that makes me very happy. Thank you. True, although sadly, I think that it would just mean that cops would pocket the money. Yeah. I do commit the whole, thank you, full name game. It's called civil forfeiture, and they're already seizing more property than... Yeah, Krellin, they're seizing more more property than burglary.
Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size.
Oh.
It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers.
Oh.
There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint.
Amplifier, can you analyze the dirt?
The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonio.
I see. So, Helen must have been at the orchards before she died.
This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
Okay, it does not look like we have any other clues in the area that I can see. But we'll just do a little bit of a little swoop, just to make sure that we're not missing anything. Because if they're okay, look, people, I think I need you to know that I'm really enjoying this DLC. We've only just started, and also we were distracted, but it doesn't matter. I'm loving it a lot. Also, why don't we just take all of this alcohol? I mean, it looks like it's free. Why not? I wanted to tell you about this guy that I met on a bus, like a Greyhound or whatever it was, going from LA to San Francisco to see my family. Sal says, oh yeah, police departments in the U.S. claim eminent domain all the time. Also big fans of civil asset seizure. If they can justify it in the smallest way, police departments will just yoink your setup. You know, they just kind of... It's cool. Reset when we were having serious gender conversation. Oh, Blue Pointer. I'm still talking about it. Thank you, 10. So I met this guy when I was in the Greyhound on my way to, go visit my folks. And I was like, what do you, tell me what's up. We were chatting. He was in the seat next to me.
Don't mind us, folks. Normal inspectors doing normal inspector things.
What? Is taking money off of a dead body not normal inspector stuff? We were just having a whole conversation about civil forfeiture. I think it's totally fine for us to do that. I don't see, what? Hey, Ice Bunny. So here's the thing. It's really, we're going to just, what is this? Samples will be billed to your room. Well, apparently it's going to be billed to my room. Well, so then they're not samples. Not really. Oh, hey, clues. And today has not been RPGs. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about Traveler, but we'll do that next time. The guy in the bus, don't let me forget. By the way, we're all wrong. It's a dramatic chipmunk. Oh, dum dum dum. Yeah, Holmes considered some mysteries a three-pipe problem. or detective work versus a 6-bottle problem. Huh. Yeah, also I'm not paying for room, so I think it's fine. I'm Helen Halcyon, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome so many important, rich guests to the unveiling of, read the following along with due significance, Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Though Spectrum Black was the pinnacle of thought, Spectrum Black was the pinnacle of quality, think again. Now your taste can reach new heights with the wonderful Spectrum Brown, containing notes of, look, list whatever you want here, just make it sound good. Notes of bergamot and tobacco smoke and desperation and ennui. Rizzo's has put the utmost in quality into their new beverage. Brown also contains a special secret ingredient that can't be found in any other type of drink. Each refreshing sip will leave you feeling more ecstatic than before. That sounds like drugs. It just might have something to do with what do we say here? There's a worm in the bottle? That flavor-enhancing trifle at the bottle's bottom. Thank you all for coming to this unveiling. Thank you to Rizzo's for allowing me to speak here. And remember, if it's brown, drink it down. I thought it was if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Because, see, this is the thing. I'm old enough, and I don't know what it was like in other places, but in California, we had that really big drought in the 70s, and like all over the place was like, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down, which was like basically don't flush your toilet if there's only urine in it, because we need to save water. And so for me, if it's brown, drink it down just makes me think about poo. I just need you to know that I just think about poo, and it makes me feel not great. I just need you to know. I don't know if anybody else remembers that phrase, and I don't know if anybody else had that phrase, because I definitely grew up with that phrase. And I bet somebody's chat like, oh yeah, I knew it. Maybe nobody did. But, it's... Oh. That's the transition to Eridanos. I don't think we want to go that way. I think we want to go to our suite, especially because we're nearing the end of our stream time. We definitely want to go to our suite. Oh, wait, by the way, we should just see if there's the...
Staring at her won't bring her back, folks.
Okay, these all seem to be guests, which I don't think is going to give us anything interesting.
You know, I never imagined Spencer Woolrich would outlive Halcyon Helen.
Okay. We're going to just go. Employees only sounds like a place I want to go. By the way, I don't have that access yet, but we're going to get that access, and then we're going to go there. What is this? This is the concierge? Oh. Yeah. I know we should take our... We should...
Yeah, when was the last time I slept? Hello. I hope you're enjoying your visit.
I'm worried. I just want to see what's up with the concierge first. Just see what's up, and then we'll hit our penthouse suite. Oh, you know what's up with the concierge? Looting is up with the concierge, and I am gonna close those doors and loot. Cool. Just why? Because I feel like we might need those things. You don't know. Also, we don't have enough money because we've spent it on upgrading our gear. So, oh hey, you know what we're not. Oh hey, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do this. What if there are clues? Y'all, I think I'm gonna really like this DLC. I think it's gonna allow things. The police totally aren't basically a gang of thugs with government backing and funding. Purpose designed to protect profits of rich people at the expense of your lives, livelihood, and safety. That would be silly. Well, reminder for the Americans in chat time. Oh, we did the time change tonight? Okay. Cardamom. Are you a fan of bergamot? I don't even know. Bergamot, tobacco, desperation, ennui. Did we send up a writer? Maybe we did. Oh no. Jessica, crime is a favorite Herman Bryn de Bear, but my inventory is heavier. Yes. Rizzo's drugs. Cue the Stranger's Track, Golden Brown. See, thank you, Artie Snack. That stay in summertime, please. That's a thing in Texas too. Oh, good, because I just feel like it's an older phrase, but yeah. Suggested advert tagline: always choose the brown stuff. You had it. Thank you. Never heard anything like it. Still my first thought. Yes. Considering black is usually the luxury or premier version, the fact that they went from black to brown is maybe possibly a little sketch. Yes, I feel like brown is never considered like the luxury. Let me hack. Hey, my hack's good. I got access to restricted materials. Oh, I'm so excited. Concierge. Sweet. 2 concierge from Cedric Kincannon, subject that damn fool. Halston, the reason I believe Ludovico is getting agitated again, which will likely present itself in several dozen messages to you, each demanding a reduction in Rizzo's payment. Funnel these messages into the trash, if you please. If Ludovico wants to renegotiate the terms of our contract, he's welcome to take his operations elsewhere. Cedric. Okay, let's note for our investigation, Ludovico's unhappy. Probably not a red herring. Okay, we've got some customer complaints. Maybe one of them will be about the murder. Very excited. Sal says, I associate the color brown with like polished wood furniture and brandy, so I guess there's some associated with fanciness. Yes, but I feel like you'd probably say golden brown. Do you know what I mean? Or like rich brown. I feel like you'd have an adjective on that brown to make it feel fancier, like a, do you know what I mean? Like a Corinthian brown. Something like that, I feel like. I'm surprised that it wasn't ultimate black or something. Whiskey and scotch, and the longer it's aged in barrels, the darker the brown. Or just mahogany. Yeah, I kind of feel like you'd like... let's see. 2 concierge from Annoyed, subject, this infernal racket. Do you like torturing me? Is that what this is? When I first learned I'd be beneath the floor occupied by the Ridge's Rangers, I was excited as any tossball-loving halcyon should be. What I did not anticipate is the degree to which these hull heads seem to enjoy prancing to and fro, pounding on the floor and my ceiling every hour of this architect-cursed day. Did they install a tossball 5th court upstairs while I wasn't looking? Is this normal? And worst of all, it sounds like one of them has decided to start imitating a woolly cow. I'll give them it's a convincing facsimile, but it has no place in a hotel, and each bleat is so loud that it shakes the glasses on my face. I demand a room change yesterday, flames on my face, for each additional hour after midnight today that I am not rehomed. I expect at least one employee to be fired. From a concerned Byzantine, subject, mechanical menace. 2 concierge from a concerned Byzantine, subject, mechanical menace. To whatever member of the help it may concern, I've heard a horrible clanking passing by my room every night for the past 6 nights. That's a clue. Yesterday I mustered up all my courage and sent a servant to look, and upon her return she said she'd seen what looks like an armed mechanical wander by my room for the past 6 nights. She said it was something called a Burbage 3001B murderer. The robot did it. And that it was a serial star. If this machine is a serial star, I must ask, why are you filming outside our rooms without paying us? We're not consenting to have our temporary property filmed. There is no doubt a contract for this. And if the machine is being allowed to wander without being filmed, then I want to be paid double. Do you have any idea how dangerous that thing could be? It could tread on my foot and ruin my aspirations to be a professional dancer. If I ever decide to have those aspirations, I urgently await a response. Robot is currently my #1 suspect, and maybe I need to bring a robot with me on this investigation. I'm going to note it. VIP guest list. Ruth Bellamy, a.k.a. Halcyon Helen. Her last name's a B. Think about it. Spencer Woolrich. Black Hole Bertie Holcomb. 1 minute warning. Thank you, 1 minute. I see it. There are, and the more headaches the next day, Volpez. Jer says, I just think of brown and black water tanks where like black is septic and brown is non-septic. Yeah, I think about that too. I see it. I must have all my courage and send a servant to look. Love that. This is from Helen, concierge terminal. Despite her celebrity status, the greater part of Halcyon Helen's requests have been fairly normal. Soap, shampoo, new towels, so on. The one exception is her unusual consumption of food and drink. I'm not one to judge about that sort of thing. Law knows I've seen stranger proclivities from other guests, but she really does request a lot. And frequently. Like, listen to this. For lunch today, she ordered 6 Borscht bean sandwiches, 2 purpleberry shakes, 2 purpleberry liqueurs, several retro rockets, and cigarettes enough to crush a teacup canid. I wonder if she's planning a party, but the cleaning staff say that every time they've gone up, there's been no sign of what she's ordered. If Helen really does keep managing to get through all of what she's been ordering, then maybe she should consider quitting show business and entering a competitive consumption scene instead. Okay, theory, Helen is feeding other people. Who are these other people? People who are stowaways, people who are in need. Perhaps she's a philanthropist. Perhaps she's trying to help the people. These are questions. I have questions. Bunch of people in a room, Sal? From Spencer Woolrich, concierge terminal. In the past 2 weeks, I've received 315 different service requests from Mr. Woolrich. These requests include, but are not limited to, his entire wardrobe from Terran Monarch, 413 different outfits, it's including a primal suit, 5 gallons of each color of spectrum except black, and he wants 50 gallons of black. Teacup canids of various breeds, like a plasma launcher, and consisting of over 60% of all total requests, an upgraded room. The administrator Ludovico authorized him to move into the second largest room just to shut him hell up, but Halsey and Helen got the biggest one, and of course, Woolrich can't accept that he's been eclipsed. Oh gosh, I just got another room upgrade request as I was typing this. I'm more than half a mind to send an exterminator to fumigate his room, just so he can't request anything else for a while. But then he might come down here and try to talk to me, and I think I'd honestly rather be dead. Well, Spencer Woolrich seems like an obvious suspect, which means he's probably not the one who did it. I'm here for something good in Halcyon. Yeah, Val, I'm gonna assume good about Halcyon Helen, especially since she wasn't expected to become famous and all that, right? I just feel like maybe she's like pulling a, just like the Roses from Bricktops were doing in Kolos. They were like smuggling out that food from the rich hotel and giving it to people. It's like maybe she's doing that, Artie says, well, if she's trying to help people, just about everyone here would want her dead, as that is the ultimate betrayal for these types. That's what I'm thinking too. I feel like there might be some kind of motivation that she's helping people, and that's like a no good, right? Yeah, Sal says he's too obvious a suspect. He can't be a killer. But can we kill him anyway? Maybe. I mean, look, it's possible. About Holcomb. Black Hole Birdie. Holcomb's requests have been about what you'd expect from a professional skullcracker, like toss ball sticks, and new clothes because he keeps, and I quote, accidentally tearing the shirts that are too small for my giant muscles. Funny how the rips I've seen look more like they've been made by hand. I've noticed that he's asked for very little in the way of effort accelerators or enhancers, like no skin tough, no oxycomp, not even any dervish mist. Typically, tossball players go through that that feels like no one else. Maybe Holcomb's trying to prove something to Helen. Whatever it is, I don't think it's going to work. Ooh, that sounds like maybe they've had some kind of breakup, perhaps. It also looks like I have finished this conversation, and I think you all know what that means. That means I've gone through this room. We have only one thing left to do, and that is to go to our penthouse.
Hello there, my inordinately esteemed guest. If my hello were any more earnest, this loudspeaker would explode. Oh dear. I'm sorry, but you don't seem to have a registered room key. If you've lost your key, why don't you pay the hotel concierge a visit? I'm sure she can get you a new one. Then you can come back, and I'll service all of your vertical needs.
Great. What this means is we're not going to go up to our hotel room before we quit the stream today. We're going to just stand in front of the concierge and just stand here so that when we come back, we know what we need to do. By the way, just going to give a quick clue look, just a quick look. Also, I really suspect that they gave us Helen's room. That's what I really feel like they did. Right here, everybody. This is where we're stopping, because when we start, we'll pull up and I'll remember where we're at, because we'll be looking at the concierge right now. Save data. Okay. So, look, okay, I feel like we did some decent stuff. I feel like that was pretty decent. Service your vertical needs sounds like a euphemism, Sal. It really does. I was like, I'm not going to say, if Lindy were here, Lindy would allow that lewdness to just be right there, because it really does seem somewhat lewd. Should I say, or maybe he's the killer as a twist, because he will be dismissed as due to being too obvious? Maybe? Time of Gift says, this is an Agatha Christie type of murder mystery. The plot will take care of him. I feel like that is fair. Artie's like, I'm glad it was vertical needs and not horizontal needs. Really, we don't know. So everyone, I want to say thank you for being here. What a lovely stream. It was we had tech issues, which caused us to start a little bit later than we would have liked, right? But we fixed that, and that is all done and good and dandy. And let me see what else. Oh, I know what that PS4 is for. That PS4 sound is for when I'm playing No Man's Sky with Dot, because then I need to route the sound differently. Yeah, I know exactly what that is. I got it. I'm thinking about it. I currently have like 3 different audio setups depending on if I'm playing PS4 by myself, if I'm playing something, if I've got Zoom going on, and if I've got... Yes, don't worry about it. I got it in my mind. So I'm so glad there was a stream 2PH. Thank you. I have to say, it has been lovely. I've missed you all. I've missed playing my PS4. I haven't played in a while. And also I want to play the banjo on the Saturday. So look, here's what's going on. I've got to tell you all this stuff. We're going to do the rundown because I'm very excited. 1, next Saturday, when we play The Outer Worlds, which we will do, I'm going to get a fedora, a pipe, and I'm going to make sure I can get that stinger. The bum, bum, bum. I might have to create it myself in Logic, but I will have it. I will have that stinger so that when we get dramatic moments in our crime mystery, I can hit my little stinger because I'm going to tell you what, I'm all about this DLC. You just have to know it. I'm very excited. Okay, so what's next? What's next after this is I'm going to go on a bike ride for 25 miles tonight. I'm going to go on a 25-mile bike ride. That's what I'm going to do. That is my goal. That's my goal. 25-mile bike ride. Probably I'm going to have to eat something, right? Get myself ready so that I have energy stores for this 25-mile bike ride. But that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 25-mile bike ride. I have decided. Probably start around 4-ish or something like that. And I'll be gone for like 2.5 hours, maybe, ish. And I'll let you know how it goes. So that's me. But then Sunday, which is tomorrow at 8 p.m., you can find me at Praxagor the Smaphorius channel, where I will be playing in Witcher Road's Home, Math, the Math Experience. Math, our 27-year-old arrogant druid who is condescending and a jerk. But funny. He does not mean to be funny. And then on Monday, you can find me playing at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find me at Wandering DMs for Montreal by Night, where it's actually, do you know what? My understanding is that Monday is the last episode of our season 1. I believe that is the case. I believe that's the case. I think that's the case. Oh, the stinger's in the bunker? Yes. Thank you, Jer. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like, thank you, Wizard Styles. I think that I think Mondays are our season end. If Prax is here, she might know. I think it is, but then we're going to do some solos, and I'm kind of excited for those as well. And then there will be no Yes and Sky on Wednesday because Dot is doing the D&D 3 at Sea cruise, and so we'll be away. But then on Thursday, we're going to go back to hernias and hypothermia. We're in a space where we're not going to immediately die, so I feel like we're way better than we were. And I don't know about you all, but I'm feeling like I'm getting back in the groove of getting all my video games on, so I'm feeling really good about that. We've started Traveler, and so Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern on this channel will be the episode 2 of Traveler. By the way, we now have a subtitle for the show, I think. I'm still waiting for 2 more people to weigh in on the subtitle that I have proposed, but I think we've got one. And if we can, I just want to get it confirmed really soon so that I can make that opening title sequence. But I'm pretty sure we have a subtitle for our crew. We did the character creation, and on Friday we're going to have them actually pick up and start their journey as privateers, and I am so excited. I've got a little bit of homework I need to do before that, and what I really want to do is kind of go through, and Willen, TW has been so grand and wonderful and kind to take some notes. And so I can go through Willen's notes and see, because there are like little things I want to do. Like, okay, I want to make sure that we know the name of this sort of radical labor organization, right? That Greg's Conman Doctors from. I want to know, so I want to make sure I've got all the little pieces they all built in together, written down in a good way so I can make a list and make sure everything's sort of really well developed so I can bring in all their backstory into what is going to come, which is going to be something amazing, I think. So, yes, for the long talk, it could be lupus. Yeah. Everybody, how lovely. You know what? We're going to go and raid somebody. We're going to raid somebody because we are in that moment where we can. And I have to drink some fluids anyway, and might as well go and drink fluids while we raid somebody. I'm looking at what we've got, and I think we should raid Max Rider, because Max Rider is so cool. And like, I don't know if you like, oh, I've got some things I have to download that Max Rider sent me. They're all in my drive-through RPG space. But Max Rider writes Call of Cthulhu content, like adventures, modules, that kind of stuff. Does like a lot of really cool work and posts really neat things in our Discord. By the way, I have a Discord. You should find me there. And so we're going to go and raid Max Rider. Find me at Trooper SJP here or on YouTube. And I have updated a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I'm just waiting for, I've got to go and put 2 last things together, and the Kolos stream, the epilogue will go up today on YouTube, and the Pirates of the Traveler will not be able to go up until I confirm what our subtitle is, and then I will put that in there and that will go up as well, but it's just waiting for it. And I have one more thing I really want to do with our Traveler VODs, but I need to figure out the best way to do it, and that's to do with closed captions. I might be able to figure out a way to do closed captions in YouTube better than the way that they do it. I just need to figure out some logistical stuff and see what the workflow is like. But anyway, I've got stuff going on. I'm going to ask you all for some thoughts about websites at some point. If you have, like, you know, crowdsourcing thoughts. Academic Foxhole, you can find me there on Twitter, and also Patreon, and the Patreon goes to support the cast, and all of that kind of business, and hopefully, you know, helps do like a second. I just had a thought, everyone. I just had a thought for a cool thing, and I am going to need to do some research on stuff. Yeah. Y'all, I have an idea for something. It's really cool. If I can get it to work out, I need to find a place that will make, I'm sure I can do it. I can do it. I've got a really cool thing. I don't want to tell you yet because it's really cool. I've got to see if I can find a way to do it online. If I can, I've got a thought. I think you'll like it. We can't talk about it now. We'll talk about it later. That's for a different moment. But it's very cool. I should write it down. Wrote it down so I won't forget. Yeah. That's everything. So we're going to go and raid Max Rider. Give Max Rider all of the love. Here's our raid command. And give Max all the love. And I will catch all of you all on the flip side. And we're going to go do the raid and the flip side. Everybody, we're going to raid in like 6 seconds. Take care of yourselves. Eat something, drink something. I'll let you know how my bike ride goes. And I will catch you on the flip side, everybody. Bye.